Everyone, and welcome to Share Life Gifts' second annual career symposium.
Good morning.
So, Share Life Gifts is a nonprofit started 3 years ago, and we try to bridge the economic gap between the African American community and all the other communities out there. And we try to expose the community to places, careers, and people that they may not normally have exposure to. And we are a resource information sharing center, if you will. So we're thrilled to have you here today to share your experiences in your careers for all of our learners out there. And don't forget, there is a scholarship opportunity out there for all of our learners. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Candace Smith Tucker, the CEO. She'd like to say a few words this morning, and then we'll follow with our other board member that's on today, Jennifer.
Morning, everyone. Thank you for your time and for your talent and for your commitment. So, we're happy to have you. Sometimes people say, oh, well, I just do this or I just do that. And most often you'll find that it's not just a just. You guys are doing some significant and impactful things. And that's what we want to spotlight in these career symposiums is the range of opportunities. Not everything needs to be at the top. Some things need to be at the middle. Some things need to be lower. Some things are just community builders. And that's what all careers are, community builders. And so we want to spotlight that no position is too small. And, the impact that you can have in whatever role you have can be significant. And that's what's important. We think about sharing information today about the careers and the things that you have to share with us. Thank you for your journey. Anything that you want to share with us about that journey and that path is critical to this conversation. So thank you so much, and we're happy to have you. Thanks, Beth.
Thank you, Candace. Jennifer.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Cephas. I'm the Vice President of Shared Life Gifts. I am a founding board member, and we are excited to have you here today. We're here to share knowledge, to grow together as a community, and also to provide resources to our audience here today. So thank you for joining and look forward to hearing from a lot of you today.
Thanks, Jennifer. And now to our dynamic duo that's on the board, the Jenkins family. Oh, just need to unmute. There we go.
I'm so sorry. I'm Lois Jenkins, and I'm one of the founding members also. I'm so appreciative that everybody is here. And some of us, we just need to help our kids to go up a little bit further. So that's why we're here. The success of Share Life Gifts is through communication, and you're part of the communication part of this. Let me say, this is a powerful presentation that we're going to hold today. And I surely thank everyone for their time and effort. I know for me being older, it's going to take us a little bit of time to get our statements out. But let me tell you, everything that you all say and that we express to our community and to our kids is very important. So thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll give it to my husband.
I'm Lawrence Jenkins. I'm the newest board member of all. And I've been around, of course, ever since Share Life Gifts pretty much started because I'm the techie person. And we also put everything we do online, including the symposium. So we're looking forward to doing that. And I learn something every time I work with it. And I'm glad, Candace, that you put all the names because I figured out how to do chapters for each person speaking when you put it up on YouTube. That's me.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, everybody. So let's just jump right in. And our first speaker today is Christopher Joseph. So, Christopher, let's listen to what you have to say.
Good morning. Good morning. Yep, my name is Christopher Joseph. Hi. I'm well, as far as work, I'm in the fire service. I'm a volunteer firefighter with the Mechanical Fire Department in Gillen, New York, upstate. I started this career when I was 18. I'm now 34. It's going to be 16 years this May. I've been volunteer firefighting with my father, of course. he joined me as well. And it's been quite a journey. There's not that many firefighters of color in upstate New York. We're working on diversity. Um, my journey, I started off as just a regular firefighter, and this year I've actually climbed up the ranks. I'm actually the first, if I'm not mistaken, African American to be a line officer in my fire
Wow.
department. So in 2022, I got the prestigious President's Award. In 2024, I became the first African American to win the Firefighter of the Year for my department. And then 2 years later, in 2026, this year, I became a second lieutenant. So I have a lot of responsibility as far as leading my crew, responding to calls. I think of firefighting as a second family.
Mm.
It's a really great career, very rewarding career. No day's the same. Every call is different. You can responding to car accidents, you can responding to structure fires, hazardous condition calls, whether it be electrical wires down, or you're calling National Grid, or someone's having basement flooded and you have to pump out the basement of water. Um, so I really enjoy it. You can join at 16 years old, and
16?
yes, as a junior firefighter, you can join at 16.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and,
Okay. What do you
and
have to do to join at 16?
so you really have to just look out for a local fire department that's volunteer, and then sign up for an application. With our department, you usually come to one of our drills, which we drill every Monday at 7 p.m. And you kind of get to see like what firefighting is all about. And then the following month, we have a monthly meeting where you get presented and you give a little overview of who you are and what you're looking forward to get out of firefighting. And then you go through a whole application process, physical fitness process. And then that following month, everything goes well, you get sworn in.
Wow, that's incredible. How long is the training?
So back when I took Firefighter 1, which is the initial training course to become interior firefighter to go in buildings, I did a boot camp. So I did in 2 weeks, 54 hours, or no, 86 hours, and I became interior qualified. Now the curriculum has elevated, so it takes roughly 6 months, almost like an academy,
Okay.
to get qualified.
Okay. And you said you were volunteer. So how does that differentiate from maybe a different type of fire person?
So the only really difference between a paid firefighter and a volunteer firefighter is the income. We do the same job, same type of training. For me, I've taken many training courses from firefighter one to fire officer one to be a company officer. This year, I'm taking basic passenger vehicle rescue to elevate my skills in vehicle electrification. I'm also trying to elevate my skills in driver training. I'm a driver for all our apparatus, but
Right.
also become a driver trainer for members that are interested in driver training. So there's many courses you can take throughout New York, which is really, really cool.
Wow, that's awesome. And when you take this training, is that something that's paid for by the fire department, or did you have to pay for those trainings?
So the training is free
Ah,
throughout fire coordinator for
okay.
Albany County.
Okay.
So sometimes I take trainings at our own tower in Gillen. I can go to Colony, you go to New Salem, Scholar Heights,
To the
Midway.
different towns.
Yeah, different
Yeah.
towns.
Different
So different
town.
towns and different fire departments host different trainings. So the training is free, which
Okay.
is nice.
And do you how many hours a week do you work? Or are you
So
on call?
it is on call. I am volunteer. I do live closer to the fire department, so I'm making at least I would say about 50% of calls each week
Okay.
with
Okay.
having that responsibility as an officer.
Right. And what's the best part about it?
Really, it's I say the best part is helping those in need.
Yeah.
They're at their worst. You know, you have EMS, you have law enforcement, and you have firefighting. And the adrenaline rush never goes away. Um, I enjoy it. I like making a difference. I like helping people. I like giving back. and I like being that hero. I want to be that person where, you look up to me, he's like, you know what? I want to be that guy, that guy with the red helmet,
Absolutely.
that guy that's, scared to death, but is stoic, composed, is leading, is really helping someone that has no idea what's going on, you know. You
Right.
can be in a terrible car accident and, I'm talking to you, calming you down while the jaws of life are spreading doors and breaking glass, you know.
Right, right. Wow, that's incredible. And I appreciate what you do because
Yeah.
it's so important and not everybody can do it. So
No,
thank you
it's
for
a
that. And
person.
for those of you out there that can do this, we applaud you, which makes me turn right to you, Jean. And now you're Christopher's.
Christopher's dad, Jennifer's oldest brother.
Okay, so this is really
Yeah.
a family
So
affair, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like Chris was saying, he started 16 years ago, and right after he started, we normally have meetings uh once a month, the monthly meetings for the
Yeah.
department. So he's like, Dad, come by, check it out. You may be interested in joining. So somehow he got me to come to one of the meetings, and then next thing you know, I joined. I ended up joining.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Chris and I are actually
The first
the
father duo.
first father duo and African
They're
American
American.
in the department.
Yeah.
They had no
Just
African
American.
American in the department. So we started, and then we ended up doing the boot camp
Camp
together.
together. Yeah.
And it
Wow.
was
Back in
a
2010.
2 weeks
Yeah.
course, and it was 12 hours a day. We would wake up 5 in the morning. I would cook breakfast and then eat, and then we had to be there by
Yeah.
7 in the morning. And
Mm,
we still had to study because you do have to pass the
That's exam.
exam.
okay.
It's a
Yeah.
regular academy, but we did the boot camp, which was, we called
Condensed.
it a class from hell. I
Yeah.
couldn't get. And I was one of the oldest in the class.
Yeah.
Again,
Okay.
I we started off with how many people? I think at least
It's like 20,
20
some
something, and we ended up graduating. I think it was 18, if I'm not
18.
mistaken.
Yeah.
So again, just
It's not
because you're old doesn't mean you
you
can't
can't do
do
it.
it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Absolutely.
we had young
Absolutely.
people dropping out the
Yeah.
first day because it is intense.
Intense. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it is rewarding. We do get a pension once
Oh,
you
let's
become a
talk about
lifetime
that.
member.
Member. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the end of 25 years,
20 years.
20 years, we
So
get a pension, which is nice. It's not a lot of money, but it is something, you
yeah.
And
know.
that pension is when you retire, you still get an allotment from
Correct.
the fire
Exactly.
department.
Exactly.
So,
And for me, lucky for me, if you're a homeowner, you also get uh, a tax break in
okay.
the town of Gilwyn. So
Yeah.
being a volunteer, I get a tax break. We're allowed to take a bunch of garbage to the dump for free. So there's
There's
a
a lot
lot
of
of
perks.
perks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of perks. And we have different events, throughout the year. We have, for the kids in the neighborhood, we have,
Like National Night Out, we have where all first responders come to our town park, and they
Yeah.
kind of get to know about,
yeah,
different fire trucks, EMS personnel,
yeah.
law enforcement. So
And
kind
so
of like an
do
outreach.
you guys participate in
Oh
Yep.
that?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And
Every
you get a
That's
August.
credit.
awesome.
Every time you participate in something, you get a credit. It goes towards your retirement.
Retirement.
Yeah.
Okay. But you also show, the kids of color
Color.
that,
Oh
you
yeah.
Yes.
guys are doing this too. Why do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
think that there's so few in this career?
Well, it's probably reaching out for me, uh, like when I'm in the community, I see young African males, females, I tell them about this,
Hmm.
especially in the line of work too, being in law enforcement, I tell them. They don't get to see what we do. It's funny because when Chris is behind the truck and sometimes I'm in the back seat and I can see people looking at him and he's driving,
Yeah.
the fire truck and he looks young and
I
they're
know
like, wait,
what's
is
going
this
on.
for real?
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
it's something for them to look at,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
again, I tell these kids, if you're not in it, then you can't win. Um,
Right.
I
Right.
mean, I'll tell you about my side, me being a correction officer. By the way, this today's Christopher's birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for spending part of it with
But
us.
No
it's
problem.
all about making sacrifices, and
Yeah.
it's comes the nature of being, a firefighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me being a correction officer, I started my career 25 years ago. So I'm actually retiring this April. Um,
Congratulations.
I'll have 25 years complete, but I'm still gonna be somewhat, I'm gonna retire from corrections, but I'm gonna be a special deputy for another town. I'm
Okay.
gonna be doing that part-time, working probably 2 days a week, just
That's
to keep
excellent.
myself busy.
Yeah, well, you have all that institutional knowledge. Just because you're
Yeah,
retired doesn't mean you
yeah,
can't do anything. Yeah.
exactly.
And then you'll
But
still be doing the volunteer firefighting as
I'm
well.
still going to be doing that. Yeah. So when I started, I didn't even know I wanted to go in this line of work. I started off doing security, and I was working for a retired state trooper at a major hospital in Albany. It's probably one of the biggest, well, the second biggest hospital in the Northeast. He was a commander, and he himself happens to be African American. So he was like a father figure to me.
Sure.
And, he told me about him being a state police. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should do that. So at that point, I started taking exams, different police exam. And
Right.
somehow the Albany County Sheriff Department ended up calling me first. So I got in there. And when I got in, I was like, do I really want to do this type of work?
Right.
Because I walked in and you don't know what some of these folks did, and you still got to treat them fairly.
Sure.
Um, and, you're dealing with people with mental health issues, so you got to have the IPC skill to deal with that.
Right.
Everybody's different. I mean, I've had officers with family members
Mhm.
that were incarcerated, so you got to be careful how you talk to people. But
Sure.
it's been very rewarding for me. I also taught in the academy,
Okay.
which is good. Um, when I started, out of 34 correction officers, when I walked in to get sworn in, I looked around. I was like, wow. And this was 25 years ago. I was the only African American.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I'm like, oh my God, what did I sign up for?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
no one would talk, no one in the lobby was talking to me. And I'm looking around, I'm like, wow, this is nerve-wracking. Do I want to do this? And finally, a friend of mine who happens to be African American till this day, he retired like 10 years ago, but he came up to me and shook my hand. He's like, welcome, young man. And at that
Ah,
point, I was like, the weight was lifted off my shoulder.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So a lot of the people that were there, they had family members who were already in that line of work. They
Yeah.
knew people in there, some were cousins, brothers, and I was the only one who had nobody in there, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So from that day on, I said, anytime I see a young African American come, I'm gonna go out there and introduce myself and tell them about the landscape of the jail and everything that goes on.
Right.
And even till this day, when I'm out and about, if I see somebody doing either security at Walmart or the mall, I'm like, hey, you ever thought about going to law enforcement? Because it's very
Right.
rewarding. Um, there's not a lot of us in that field. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you
Right.
got to be in it to win it.
There you
Because
go.
a
Yeah.
lot of the people I work with, they have, a lot of them didn't even go to college and they
Right.
making six-figure incomes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you know, I actually, I'll give you an example. I ran into a young man, and again, they don't know.
Hmm.
I said, "Hey, you ever thought about going to law enforcement, be a correction officer?" He's like, "Oh no, man, I can't do it. I got arrested a couple of times, and this
Yeah.
is something they don't know." I'm like, "Well, are they felony charges?" He was like, "No, they're not felony charges. They were misdemeanor charges." I'm like, "Boom, you still
Right.
can get a job in law enforcement." You
Hmm.
know, I see people coming in where they've had DUIs and they still, If it's not a felony, you still can work in the
Right,
field.
of course. It's not the end of the
And
road. Yeah,
exactly. And a lot of them seems to think that, oh, because I got arrested years ago, I can't work in that field, which is
not
false.
true.
So
Right.
yeah, so they, that's something I try to tell them, hey, just because you got arrested doesn't mean you can't work in that field. Yeah.
And I think you two are such a great example of blazing that trail for folks, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's you guys are perfect in two different careers, and then also coming together, being at the fire. Is it a firehouse or a
Yes,
It's a
firehouse.
firehouse,
Yeah.
yeah.
firehouse? Okay, I
Yeah.
want to make sure I get that
We're actually
correct.
getting a new building, so our
Yeah.
background is actually a rendering of what our new station's going to look like
Yeah.
in December of this
Oh,
year.
oh, I thought that
Yeah.
was your house. Okay, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay.
Yeah. 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 It's going to be a two-story firehouse.
Beth,
Should break
Wow.
ground
there's a
this year.
shield back there, and I know you can't see it, but
Yeah.
there's a little crest back there
Oh, okay.
behind,
Yeah.
yeah, which is
Okay.
pretty cool. So
Yeah.
thanks for explaining that. But I think we got a
Yeah.
couple questions. Can we get a couple questions
Of
in? I
Yep.
know
course.
Larry and Lois
Absolutely.
had their hand up for a while there. Larry and Lois, do you still have that question?
Yes, go ahead.
The question is what age did you all do the boot camp or whatever for training?
So, Chris, how old were you?
I was 20.
Yeah, and I
What?
think
Yeah, I was 20 years old. Yeah.
Is
and I
there a minimum,
was
is there a minimum age or a maximum age or for those?
So to be like interior, you have to be at least 18 to go into boot camp. I just took a couple years off, just not off, but I took some time to learn the fundamentals before I jumped into it to be successful.
Okay.
And I was also trying to balance college too as a freshman.
Mhm.
So
Sure. Is there a maximum age?
there's no maximum age to do the boot camp.
Okay.
So I said earlier, you can join at 16 to be a junior firefighter, and all that means is you're very restricted on what type of calls you can go to. And
Sure.
then at 18 years old, you'll get a black helmet, and then you can take the boot camp right away and be certified. If you want to make this a career, definitely join the fire department just so you can understand what it is to be a firefighter, and
Makes
then
sense.
take a civil service exam. Whether it's, if you're in the city, the creme of the creme is obviously FDNY,
Yeah.
and they have the EMS division and they have the fire division.
Okay.
And if you're upstate New York, we have Albany Fire Department, Troy Fire Department, Saratoga Springs, and Schenectady. Those are like the top four, top five paid departments.
Lots of
Yeah.
opportunity out there, it looks
So,
like.
yeah, if I didn't go to school for business, more likely than not, I would have pursued firefighting full
Okay.
time as a career.
I think I started when I was 42.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
the boot camp.
And
And there's a physical portion, you do a fitness
Test,
portion you
fit
do
test.
have to pass.
Yes.
Uh, if you
Yeah.
can't pass it, then you can't join. So you do have to,
Makes
Yeah.
they
sense.
do a fit test.
And just to put in perspective,
Yeah.
like our department was established in 1918, so it's been over 100 years.
Yeah.
And you have two African American men, you know, doing God's work.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Well,
yeah.
we appreciate that so much. Jennifer, did you have a question?
I sure did. First and foremost, thank you for your service.
You're
This is
welcome.
my older brother. John is my older brother. And obviously, Christopher is my nephew and godson. So I'm extremely proud to have him here on the call as they share their journey with everyone. My question is really for the purpose of the audience knowing this. What kind of outreach do you think not only the fire department, but also the sheriff department is doing in our community? Because I think there's a stigma for specifically law enforcement in our community, like a lack of trust. So I know there are community events, but is there outreach at colleges or and at high schools for people to know exactly what it is you do, what the benefits are, and to have people who look like us, whether they're Black or brown, et cetera, showing the diversity? Because when you're saying when you started, there was no one there. But now it's starting to grow a little bit more. So I want to know what kind of outreach are these organizations doing to, garner interest and gather more people of color?
Well, for me, 25 years ago, there was only a handful of African American in the department. And at the time, I think we only had um, two actually supervisors, meaning sergeants, officers who went up to the ranks of sergeant. Now, here it is 25 years later. We don't have not one African American in that office. To me, it is kind of sad because after during the Black Lives Matter movement, I did they did go out, recruited a lot of young men and women. So in my 25 years, it's actually now I'm seeing a lot more African Americans in the department, but there's no supervisors. I've taken the exam years ago, and it is kind of sad because I was reachable. Okay. At the time, I believe 10 of us, either 10 or 12, I think, African American took the supervisor's exam. And all of us scored really well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they didn't promote not one person off that exam,
Wow.
which is sad because at the time we were reachable. They did away with the exam. And here it is today, 2026, and we still don't have an African American in the supervisor's office. We have a young lady right now. She's reachable. She's African American, but I don't know if she can, if they'll bring her in there.
Yeah.
It's just, I hate to say it, bring race into it, but it's the good old boy network in there.
That's
And for me, I'm like the mouthpiece at work. If I
Right.
see wrongdoing, I'm gonna speak up. And
You
believe me,
should.
when you
yeah.
do speak up, they have a lot more respect for you. If you
Right.
just sit back and allow things to go on, then people are going to walk all over you. You
And
know,
like we were saying earlier, you two are blazing that path,
Yeah.
and so grateful that you keep speaking up, because
oh
the
yeah,
other folks that see you speaking up are going to continue that,
e-
hopefully, and make
exactly.
a change.
Every time I see a young African American or female comes in, I pull them to the side and I have a pep talk with them.
Yeah,
I'm like, again, your job is care and custody, but don't try to be a hero. Okay. At the end of the day, you want to go home to your family.
right.
So you literally can make your paycheck there. I've seen people come in and 2 years later, they're buying a big truck, a house. And so we need to, I tell these young kids, hey, you know what? Get in there. It's not about, oh, I don't like the police or I don't like law enforcement. No, we have bad apples in
You gotta be a
every different
difference.
life,
Yeah.
Right.
It really has to be a difference because, like, even
Yeah.
with me, like, as a firefighter, I mean, I don't get the same stigma as law enforcement, but there is politics, and
Sure.
it took me 16 years to
Yeah.
become a line officer. While I
Yeah.
had to wait for, good old boy network, the clique, as you want to say,
Mm.
people rise above me. And mind you, I'm averaging 100 calls a year. I'm
Yeah.
attending events. I was a department treasurer. I got these accolades.
Right.
And, in 2024, I was first firefighter year, went through the election thinking that, okay, I did it all. Like, there's nothing
Right.
I could possibly give
Yeah.
you on my resume. And, it was a political, best friend type of ordeal where this individual was holding on to the rank of power,
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily doing responsibilities because they were preoccupied with other things with family. And I lost. And, I was a little upset, but I was like, I'm gonna persevere and come back stronger the next year. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna talk to the committee and be like, listen, this person's not doing what they need to do.
Right.
They're holding on to this job
Yeah,
and
you do have to
they
speak up at
and
times.
they really weren't entitled for a reelection. And I was like, I'm not gonna, sit there and have to face the same situation again.
Right.
And
And you persevered. And
yeah,
that is something that the other
yeah,
folks would look up to you for as
yeah,
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also have a lot of college volunteer
sure,
students because
yeah.
the
Save
University of
Albany.
Albany is not too far from the fire department. So,
Okay.
Jen, sometimes we do go out there, we set up tables to recruit, young people. We've had a few that came through.
Yeah, a
We
few.
have a boot drive. Um, in my department, we do go out to the local high schools, colleges. I think we have a website also where, we get people to
I
sign up
know.
and recruit. We've even had posters at different barbershops in the community. Yeah.
Well, and this symposium, Jennifer, as you know, is going to reach a lot of people. And this is specifically why we do it, so people are aware. The African American community is aware
Yeah.
that this is an opportunity for them, and
Mhm.
they see two successful people in two similar and different roles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 So we thank you. We thank you for that.
Welcome.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And thank you for sharing.
Of
Really
course.
appreciate that.
Mhm.
Um, I think number three, as we move on, is Kevin Hawkins. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here.
Okay, so guys, I mentioned the connection with me and Kevin, but this is our other board member, Marcy Hawkins. This is her husband.
Yes.
Correct. So, all
Morning.
right. Well, good morning. Thank you all for having me. As mentioned, my name is Kevin Hawkins. I grew up in Chicagoland area. My husband, as mentioned, my wife is Marcy Hawkins. We have three nearly grown children. They're not grown if they're not paying all their bills, so they're nearly grown. We've been fortunate enough. We've lived in Illinois, Ohio, Japan, California, and we currently live in Texas. I've worked as a mechanical engineer in the automotive industry for over 3 decades.
Oh,
I know
wow.
that
Wow.
seems like a lot, but I remember my first day, and it's been exciting my whole career. So it's went really fast. Uh,
So, what exactly is a mechanical engineer?
Mechanical engineering is like I was going to get to that. There's multiple disciplines of engineering. There's aerospace, electrical, chemical, civil, in which aerospace is more design and development of airplanes. Electrical is lighting, things like that, all electrical systems with power grids. Then there's chemical, creating new products that come out from toothpaste to cleansers. Civil is more of like the infrastructure, bridges, roads, engineers, so developing the asphalt or just laying out how the roads should be constructed and things like
Okay.
that, the overpasses, and mechanical being more mechanical systems, being either I was in automotive, so the function of how developing the engine. I was in what we call safety systems.
Mm.
So I was responsible for developing when a car gets out of control, the systems that rotate the car to get it to sort of help the driver
Ah,
maintain stability and reduce the level of accidents.
oh,
So
wow.
mechanical is more anything that you can touch that moves, things like that, to sort of function in like a system that sort of works. So it could be like from the framing of a TV. Mechanical engineers work on that type of structure to make sure that it doesn't break. To like I say, engine design. To I was more in what we call like chassis design, which is suspension, wheels, tires, brakes, kind of
Oh,
thing.
wow. Yeah. So on all types of cars.
All types of cars. Yeah.
Wow.
And,
And
and, and
what made you decide to do this?
okay, yeah. So for me, it all started from early childhood. I just had a love for cars. I liked the sleek designs. I liked the sound of the engines. I liked how fast they went. And based on that love for cars, I said, okay, I want to be a car or designer or developer, which required that I pursue engineering as a degree in college.
Okay.
So that was kind of the heavy lift for me because I really wasn't this, you know, excellent student in school. I did okay,
Mm.
but I wasn't like this straight A student. So when I realized, okay, I need to pursue to get a bachelor's of science in engineering, you need a 4-year degree, sometimes a little longer. And actually, for me, it took a little longer. uh, because it was one of those things of I had to learn to be comfortable with things that I wasn't good at today,
Good point.
meaning math. I was okay at science. I wasn't super great at computers when I started, but it was one of those things of I later learned that math is one of the easier things to learn based off
Okay.
because math is really just practice. It's like learning
Interesting.
to dance. You don't, when you step up, you don't know how to do the wobble, day one, but you learn, you practice different problem sets and being able to seek help for things you don't know, not being as prideful and reaching out to get support.
That's
Uh,
really an important point. How did you do that?
Well, it was honestly School of Hard Knocks. When I first got there, I struggled because I felt, well, I'm a smart guy, I'm hardworking,
Yeah.
and I just sort of tried to just beat my head against the wall trying to figure all this out.
Yeah.
And then I looked at a lot of my other college students, and they were working in teams. And then I went to a couple of the on campus at college, we had a National Society of Black Engineers organization. So
Okay.
when I went out to that meeting, a lot of the older, we called the old heads there, but the upperclassmen,
Yeah.
they said, hey, you're going to have to get with some of these study groups. You got to make sure every week you're going to, office hours. And they kind of really taught me about, okay, you need to put the time in and you need to seek help from our community and other communities and go, you know, just go to a professor. Hey, I don't understand this. And
Right.
however long it takes is how long it takes.
Wow. That's amazing. So you had a group of mentors
Yeah.
almost
Yeah. In
that,
school.
yeah. And again, I mean, this is kind of what we're doing here today. It's the same thing. We're advancing it forward to those that are going to come behind and need that mentorship,
Yeah.
right? And so that really helped you and probably sustained you when you were maybe
Yeah.
frustrated.
During a very difficult time. So from those individuals supporting me, I've been able to support a lot of individuals after that, from the ones who are going through school right now,
Yeah,
just working with them on, okay, this is what you need to do to elevate yourself in school, but also, getting, once you get out of school, how to put your LinkedIn page together. What are critical things that you need to be doing on campus to make yourself stand out against in the other individuals, that you'll
right,
be trying to get an opportunity with our job with.
right. That's huge. And have now you've been doing this for, did you say 30 years?
30 years, yeah. So I
Wow.
retired. Most of my career was with a company, Honda. You guys, most people know Honda, automotive company. So
Yeah.
yeah, I designed products for them for about 15 years. And then I shift from development and design to go to more of the quality, efficiency of process development for about another 17 years, and a lot of training of other younger engineers and things like that. I
Wow.
did retire, but then Toyota reached out to me and I wound up going back to work. So now I work with Toyota. And that
So wait,
role,
did you take any secrets from Honda and bring them over to Toyota?
not really. It's just a
Can we
mindset.
say that?
It's more of a
Beth, you're
mindset.
trying to get him in trouble.
I'm
Shh.
sorry, I just was curious.
Competitor. I'm sure
Total
there's
competitor, total
NDAs and
competitor.
all kind of stuff out there.
Right. But really, even the engineering aspect of the schooling, it really is just teach you how to think through
Interesting.
problems and being able to just solve problems. And, it's been able to afford me and my family a nice life and got to travel the world.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you
but
said you in Japan? Was that because of your job?
yes, so I want to get to, one of the things when you, I talk to young people about is when they start their career, you got to get out there, be open to new projects. You got to be out there, be able to get out of your comfort zone. Things like me, I started, playing golf on my own, just going out on the course, just learning, just to get able to be able to network with individuals. But yes, I was based off of that networking. They wanted to bring some of the advanced brake system technology from Japan to the U.S. So
Ah,
I was selected to go to Japan to train there. I was able to take my wife, we went and be able to train, gain that technology, and then bring it back to the U.S. to train the individual in the U.S. of how to do sort of advanced brake system developments.
that's amazing. And did you even realize that that would have been an opportunity for you when you started?
Not at all. I really hadn't even considered going to Japan. I did think the culture was neat with the cars and everything, but I had never considered living overseas at all. It
Yeah.
was just for me, it was just I like cars. Yeah, I thought the job was cool because with Honda, they make everyone sort of engineer expert drivers. So I did a lot of test driving at test facilities in the Mojave Desert,
Wow.
in Canada, in Sweden, in Europe, in Italy, So I just thought that part was cool enough, So,
Right, right,
but
right.
then have an opportunity later to go overseas and learn those cultures and then bring them back and be able to share that experience with family,
Yeah.
friends, and especially the younger African Americans, they're like, wow, and then meeting other African Americans within the company who had went over longer stints of time and them becoming fluent in Japanese was also another a neat aspect
Yeah,
to sort of
absolutely.
I push now for um, people of our culture to say, hey, you got to travel, get the passport, go see things, go learn about other cultures, you know, you get a whole different feeling of, what our people have done for this world, not just for the US. When
Right.
you go overseas and see our music being played, our artwork, from the US, African Americans created, you get a whole different appreciation
Yeah.
and respect for your own
And
culture.
I don't think young people today, I sound so ancient, but
I know. I hear you.
sometimes they don't get that, right? And they need to learn that history and they need to see it. And your career has given you an opportunity to do that. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like going into Japan, I'm in Tokyo, and then I go into a restaurant, Motown, and see how much it's admired and loved there, things like that. So it's
Yeah.
just neat to see.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's amazing. Did I see a question?
Kevin looked
Okay.
like he wanted to tell us something else. Kevin, what else is
well,
there?
I was just going to go into, I didn't want to take up too much time, but it was I spoke on being able to use your network, being National Society of Black Engineers, what helped me out, and then when I was in school, the Society of Automotive Engineers was critical, to help me stand out and become sort of an expert in my field. But my kind of cornerstones for young people, when I talk to them about why my career I feel was successful, it was really having a passion for what I want to do, which was for me, it was cars. I
Yeah.
just enjoy cars. So then I got the education I needed, at least the baseline education. More is great, but you got to, just come in with the baseline and anyone can do it, so you can learn anything, especially now with the YouTube and internet. You can learn anything, actually, really anything. Um, Networking helped me out a lot. And being able to network outside of my comfort zone, a
Yeah.
lot of going into the meetings. I joined the Honda Golf League, and I wasn't a great golfer, but most of it was Japanese in that league,
Okay.
and they would see me there, and so they got comfortable with me. So then, when we were at a specific meeting where it was outside of my department, they already had a relationship. They introduced me to other colleagues that helped me move to different departments. It helped me when I was in Japan. So that networking was essential. And then just being courageous, taking on new projects through prayer. So I would I see a new opportunity, I pray on it and just see how it played out. I just go
Right.
for it, say, hey, I'm going to give this a try. And those four pillars, I feel, have been my keys to success.
That's huge. And that's so important. The networking and getting to know other people. and going out of your comfort zone and having those mentors. I think we all could take that, right?
Yeah,
Whatever we're doing.
we absolutely can. So a couple things, Kevin, I
Yes.
need to get into golf, but I'm so intimidated by it.
No,
So
you can't,
how
you
do
know,
people, because I hear that a lot, right? Like get on the golf course, like, get to know people that you would not ordinarily get to know. It's like a
Yeah.
gateway, right? And so my first question is, how do you get comfortable with golf when all you know is like the miniature golf kind of atmosphere? And then
exactly.
the second thing is, to your point about the networking, is comfort. When
Yes.
people get comfortable with you, that opens doors. It's never really about what you know.
Really, and
It's
really to
more
get into
about
the
who you know.
your
And the
act.
who you know is people are more willing to give you that opportunity, right? When they're comfortable.
That's exactly right. And unfortunately, in this, I don't know, probably all industries, but corporate America, to get into the upper crust, you got to have a sponsor, really, almost. So there needs to be people that, okay, this person, I'm comfortable with them. I know they can do the job. When those opportunities come up, I'm going to put their name in the hat. And I'm willing to speak for them that they can do the job, and I have faith in them. But you have to have some comfort with that individual for them to even speak on your behalf.
Right.
The golf is not easy. But the main thing is 95% of people aren't good golfers. So
Really?
that's the nice thing. But getting to golf is really just, I recommend people, you go to the driving range, but you go out and get a set of pre-owned decent clubs. Nothing expensive, just a set of pre-owned decent ones, standard brand. Go to the driving range, take some lessons. You don't have to try to figure all this out on your own. It's not as expensive as people say. Take a few lessons from a pro that's there. Have your pre-owned set of clubs. And before you know, then you're good enough to you understand the etiquette of how the game works. You get your swing down. It won't be a great swing initially, but most people's aren't. So that's okay. So that's the key. And it takes some discipline and dedication. You won't be able to go out there and be an expert doing it one time.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that the fact that I look out my window at my house at a golf course should not be a hindrance. I need to be out on the golf
You
course.
need to be out on the golf course. You need to set aside a summer and say, I'm going out twice a week.
All right,
Okay.
I'm going
All
out.
right. I'm just saying, y'all,
Yeah.
the next time we do the
Yeah.
symposium, this time next year, somebody asked me about golf.
Okay.
All
Because
righty.
I'm just
I
saying.
have a
I am
little,
making a note.
I have a text message that I send out to people that just gives them all of the etiquette stuff and the key points of how to be able to play. And
Interesting. Did you all notice how we went from mechanical
I know.
engineer into golf?
Because
Sorry
because
about
what
that.
I hear is like it's the networking,
Yes.
right? It's like the
Yes.
networking, but it sounds like it could be therapeutic as well, which is why I'm thinking I might
I
be
think so.
interested in it.
Well, the thing, I wish know if it's therapeutic. Some people don't do well with it on the golf course because their nerves, anxiety, get all stressed out about it. But the thing is, I've been taking out a lot on the golf course because once I moved up in the company, suppliers would want to take me out all the time because they have me for 4.5 hours, sometimes 6 hours.
Right.
They have my attention.
Yes.
And you get to know how people handle stress a lot. So I take a lot of young people out when they're starting to say, okay, how do you handle stress? How do you, when things go bad, how do you react to it? When things are going well, how do you take that? Do you put, it's all on me, or was it a team effort in the scramble? Things like that.
Wow. That's huge. And women don't play enough of it.
Women do not play enough of it.
Yeah.
And I, not to get off the golf too much, but I tell you, I taught all my kids to golf early, like when they were 6 and stuff like that. But because the women, if you're a woman that's like can play at all, the corporations always want you in the scramble because you get to start up further up.
Yes.
Like we have a woman that comes to a conference, everybody's knows, can you play at all? Oh, you're on my team. You're on my team because you're going to help us a lot.
Yeah.
So, the women that can golf, and especially in sales, That's a no-brainer.
That's fascinating. I think, Bruce, you had a question?
Oh, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, a couple of things that you had mentioned, Kevin, that I really liked, right? You have to be willing to say yes to new challenges. Absolutely, right? I mean, if you refuse or say that's not me or I don't want to be a part of it, you're right. You won't be part of it, right? So
That
as
might be
you
the last time you get asked. Yeah.
absolutely. And then the other thing, right, that I think people need to be aware of, right? Same with me. I was not the greatest student. That that's that is a very small piece of what can slow you down or accelerate you in an area.
Yeah.
I mean, your education in the beginning is important, but like you said, you learn that math isn't really that hard.
Yeah.
But when you're in high school,
Oh,
math is the
oh,
worst thing in the world, right?
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as you get used to it and you learn the rules and it's like anything. People can learn.
Right.
Yeah.
The
And like you
last
say,
thing-
math is rules. Like English, that's kind of some, there's rules, but you can break them and things like that. But math is like, this is how it works, and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Candace, golf is not therapeutic. It is very stressful.
We can
Yeah,
attest
golf,
to that.
golf can drive you crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that
When you
is
miss
funny.
that first swing and then you take a second
Okay,
swing
you
and you
guys are
miss.
trying to get me out on the golf course. Now you're trying to not get me
No,
out on the golf
we're
course.
Just
Like,
going. You know
I don't
what,
want to set
Candace?
you up for failure.
My sister plays, and she has been trying to get me to play for years. So we're going. We're going.
Yes.
literally, guys, I'm telling you, there's a golf course across the street from my house.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but if you
Like,
have an
Don't be
addictive
scared,
personality,
Candace.
though, it could be bad. If you have an
uh-oh,
addictive personality.
I do have an addictive
But
personality.
people just you think about it all the time, and out there, people I know people that
Uh-oh.
are just
I actually
obsessed.
do when I like something or don't, I'm like really like in it when I like it. So I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned, y'all.
Right.
Okay.
All
Candace, get
right.
ready. Get
Bruce,
ready, Candace. Your nephews play golf and they drag me out to the golf
there
I'm
you
course.
trying
go.
to get I'm
Get
trying to
ready.
get them to come to the lake house because this golf course is
We're
sitting
coming.
there.
We're coming. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Stay
Okay,
Tuned. They
tuned.
okay,
have their own clubs and everything. Stay tuned.
Oh, oh.
okay.
Bruce,
So
I
so
wanted to, I'm sorry,
I
Candace.
I was just gonna say Bruce mentioned and Kevin did too. Kevin, by the way, I thought you were super smart in high school, smarter than me, but you look, right? And so for those that don't know, I'm a lawyer. So is Kevin's wife. She's super smart, smarter than me, of course. And I had a college, counselor tell me that I should consider another profession. I was not smart enough to be a lawyer. And it was very, it could have been discouraging, but I didn't have that type of personality. Instead, it did the opposite. What
Mm,
it did is it made me say, okay, I'll show you. And I didn't listen to him. And I decided that he was wrong. And I did just about like Kevin said, whatever it is that I had to do to get stronger and what the area was that maybe I didn't feel the strongest. And so, I went and got a master's in English and I learned about the rules and I learned how to write and I learned how to communicate. And then I went to law school. And that was off of the advice of some judges that my mom knew, what could she do to get stronger? What could she do to make herself look better in an application? What could she do to strengthen those skills? And then I learned after becoming a lawyer that, I would spend some time in the courtroom. I prosecuted and I liked to talk, didn't like to write so much. And so I knew I wanted to help people. And public service is where I found myself working, but then my husband's job took us some other places. And I realized that the law was really something that was very versatile. It was something that you could craft and use it in business. You could use it in other, all types of aspects and found myself in nonprofit work, found myself in leadership, found in that the networking, found myself being able to leverage the skills of being able to be a great orator and to convince people and talk, in different ways. And so if you are determined, if you're determined, then you can figure out a way to, be stronger in some areas that might not be the strongest suit for you, but having a mentor and having people to talk to kind of give you advice on what you can accentuate
Right.
always helps. And then these sort of environments that we're putting together here with the symposium is we're not telling you to go out and do something that you have absolutely no wherewithal to do it. But what we are saying is that if you are putting yourself in the right positions, making some good decisions about what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, you may be able to find some successes in some of these careers. So I just wanted to say that.
No, thank you for that, Candace. And you're so right. And we're exposing people to things that they may not know that they're interested in, right? And back to Bruce's point, too, about the mentors and not letting people tell you no. Who are they to tell you no? You shouldn't be interested in this. You shouldn't go to college. You shouldn't do this, or you can do all that kind of stuff. And I had a very smart boss at the Secret Service when I was there that told me, and Candace is very familiar with this boss because it is her husband. Um, don't let them have an excuse. So do everything you can. Don't give them an excuse to exclude you or to tell you no. And I've always remembered that. Kevin, thank you so much for that. And next up is Lauren Tucker.
Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
My name is Lauren Tucker. My mom is Candace Smith Tucker. Um, and I am a member of humane law enforcement. And basically, what that means is I investigate the abuse and neglect of animals in Washington, D.C. Um, I don't even know where to start with that, but because I am a member of law enforcement, I have a long list of responsibilities that I have to basically delegate in the district. I handle everything from dogs in cars, from emaciated dogs to, and also emaciated cats, sick animals. And I also am responsible for writing warrants when I need to rescue animals that are in need, that have been affected by people. So the hardest part of my job is probably having to fight for um, things that are practically helpless. Animals, they can't speak for themselves. They can't, fight for themselves. And I am responsible for making sure they are not in harm's way, or if I can do anything to help it, offer the community resources. We have a lot of resources. I work for the Humane Rescue Alliance, which is a shelter in Northwest DC. And we offer a lot of resources to the community, as far as animal care, medical care, and we also are responsible for humane law enforcement. That's the department that I work for. It's a hard job. I see a lot of things that are very difficult to see. And it's just important to make sure you maintain a healthy work-life balance. I think I said that at the last symposium, and I'm still trying to tell myself that secretly.
Yeah.
But it's a very rewarding job as well. Helping the animals in need, helping people in need that just genuinely need help. I am an African American woman, and a lot of the people that I see look just like me, or are in very difficult situations. And I have to meet them where they are, not judge them, and make sure that I am helping them and assisting them rather than, doing something that is the other.
Right. It sounds like
um,
you're helping people as well as the animals.
yes.
Is that, yeah.
The people are responsible for taking care of the animals. So ultimately, I am working with the people. And sometimes the situations can be very difficult. um, People have everyone has things that they are dealing with in their day-to-day lives. And like I said, it's not my job to judge them in their circumstances. It's my job to help them. in any way that I possibly can. And
You,
that it's also my job to make sure that I um, remove animals from people's space that don't need them,
yeah,
which is a hard thing that I have to do. I don't like taking people's property. An animal is someone's property, their family member. And that's a hard part of my job. I don't like doing things like that, but ultimately my responsibility is to the animals.
right. And do you think your interest in animals is what led you to this, or your influence from law enforcement?
I think a little bit of both. I was raised with both of my parents being in law enforcement and, you know, either fighting for the law or being active members of law enforcement.
Right.
And it's a huge responsibility, and I don't take it lightly. And now that I'm actually in a position of law enforcement, it's just something I'm always cognizant of. Um, but also, yes, I've been working in animal care for a very long time, like over 6 years. And even as a vet tech, I did see evidence of animal abuse, and I
Mm,
just didn't know how to identify it. And now that I have had sufficient training in how to identify certain things, I think that it's only helped in my journey.
sure.
Um, but I also, the way I got the job was someone that I was working with. So we talked about networking earlier.
Yeah.
It's all about who you know, it's not
Yeah.
what you know.
Yeah.
Um, and ultimately, I love the job. I have a lot of respect for the job, and I don't work alone. I work with other officers, and I am the only African American officer on the team currently. So that is a different level of responsibility, just added on top of that. Um, but I wear it as a badge of honor. Um, and I just try and make sure that I do the best I can
Yeah.
every day.
What kind of training did you have to go through?
So it was a lot of field work.
Okay.
Um, I worked more than 1,000 hours. I had to do more than 1,000 hours worth of field training to be
Okay.
able to earn my badge, um, to be a member of humane law enforcement. And it was a hard journey, but the training was definitely worth it. And I'm glad that I got so much experience in the field because
Yeah.
the things that you see on a day to day, you have to have a certain demeanor, and you have to be
Mm,
calm, and you have to be aware of your surroundings. So situational awareness was very important. Sometimes you're not just walking down the street. You have a million eyes on you. You have to be cognizant of that and just know that you're there to do a job.
right.
And know also when to ask for help. Or I am non-lethal in the
Okay.
district.
Yeah.
So I just have to be also aware of that as well. I'm working in environments where there could be people that are trying to harm me. So just also knowing what to do, how not to escalate a situation. De-escalation, I learned that a lot in training.
Okay.
Um, and just being aware of my surroundings at all times. But that's also important when you're handling with the animals because
Yeah.
people sometimes have animals to protect their property, like they literally use them as a resource to protect their property. So being aware of that, knowing what you can and cannot do, um, and just make sure you're following the law,
Right.
um, and not contributing to bigger issues, bigger internal political issues that we sometimes see in our day to day.
Right.
So
You
yeah,
mentioned you were the only American on your team. How big is your team?
we are a team of five.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so we're a very small team and we're responsible for the entire district. So it's a big responsibility, and my caseload is very large.
Yeah.
Um, but the work is worth it. Um, and I'm just glad that I get to be able to fight for the animals because there aren't a lot of people out here that do that type of work that care
Right.
about the animals. But ultimately, and I didn't know this statistic myself, but 88% of people in the United States own animals.
88%. Wow.
Yes,
I didn't know that
88%.
either.
Have dogs in their home, on their property, cats, whatever you may have as a household pet, domesticated animal. A lot of people have pets. And
Hmm.
it's just our responsibility, well, my responsibility to make sure that people are taking care of their pets appropriately.
Right. Right. So, I mean, you're an advocate for them, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And do you get calls that you have to go out on? And then my other question would be, do you follow up sometimes by having to go to court?
Yes. So I do have to work with the AUSAs that we have in the district to be
The
able to, the
prosecutors?
prosecutors. Um, and I have to work with judges. I also have to work with members of law enforcement. Like I said, I do have the capability to write warrants to be able to rescue animals from bad situations.
Hmm.
So I have to work with a lot of different departments. And sometimes, yes, I do have to show up to court and defend the case, help defend the case, or come as a witness.
Right.
Um,
Right. So
and
it sounds like you never have the same day.
never,
Right? Because you don't
never.
know. Yeah. Well, that means that's great for some people that like that. It's a different day. You're using the same skills, perhaps, but it's a different day, a different situation.
Absolutely. So I definitely am always on my toes. It's definitely a lot to learn, but I'm definitely trying to absorb everything
Yeah.
and just do my best to do my part.
That's great. That's great. I love that. I love that you are an advocate for the animals, and yet you're also in law enforcement. You also go to the courts and you deal with the citizens. And I imagine that gives you a lot of satisfaction.
It does. Ultimately, my responsibility is to the animals. I've always loved animals since I
Yeah.
was young.
Yeah.
Um, and I never thought that I would be a member of law enforcement, which sounds ridiculous since my whole family are members of law enforcement.
That's okay.
But you never know where life is going to take you. And I'm glad that I have a great support system
Yeah.
um, because I do ask my family questions
Yeah.
now.
Sure. They're a
um,
resource for you, right? I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
now that I'm in law enforcement, I do ask questions. And I think it's just because I want to do a great job.
Of course. Of course. And you had someone that introduced you to this field through, again, the networking and just talking to people. Did you know that this job existed before that?
No, I actually did not. I actually thought that I was applying for an animal control position. I did not know that the two were separate. But animal control, if you don't know, is they're responsible for handling all the animals in the district that are strays or that they handle like barking complaints, they handle wildlife, they handle all types of things, and they handle the entire district. But they're a completely separate department, and they have different funding. Um, so I work for a nonprofit, and animal control, they have congressional funding um, through their department, and they work out of, but we used to be the same thing.
Okay.
So right before I came into the department, which was almost 8 months ago,
Yeah.
um, a
Like
year
that.
before that, animal control and humane law enforcement, they separated.
Did
So
not
now
know that.
we have to coexist, and it's actually been kind of difficult.
Hmm.
There's a lot of politics that's involved, and it sometimes prevents us from being able to operate properly,
Interesting.
and be able to properly be able to assist the animals the way they need to be assisted.
Right.
So it's just important that you try to stay out of the politics of it and you try to just do your job and make sure you're doing your job to help the animals and just do what you can do.
Yeah.
Um, because ultimately, I don't think I'm going to break anything down systemically, but you can only do what you can do and do your part.
Well, I think you need to give yourself a little bit more credit. You are here trailblazing once again. I mean, let's acknowledge that right there. And you seem really comfortable in your space, and I think that's wonderful. And I think people have to realize that, right? And give yourself some credit that you are trailblazing. This is something a little bit new, a little bit different. And here you are excelling in it and doing what you want to do. And you didn't even know about it before. So
Yeah, I appreciate your kind words. It's a very rewarding job, and I just hope that I can stay in it as long as possible.
Right. And Kevin's mentioning that it does have a lot of complexity. You're right. You're right,
Mhm.
Kevin. That's amazing. Well, thank you, Lauren. It's nice to see you
Can
again.
I jump in?
Of course.
Okay, so she is so like underplaying this, right?
Right.
Like she tells me about like some of the stories and everything, but what are some of the perks of the
Oh,
job?
good
Like
point.
I'm thinking about like one big one, and I want to know if you're going to mention it. But what are some of the perks and of having the position?
One of the perks of the position is I do get a government vehicle or a government looking vehicle
Okay.
that I don't have to pay for gas.
I was just going to say, especially now, right? I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
I don't have to pay for gas. I did get a lot of training. Like the training was probably the best part. That was a great perk. The job offers a lot of financial stability.
Okay.
If you work it the way I work very long hours, so overtime is nothing. I get overtime, no problem. So if you're looking for to get overtime anywhere,
Yeah.
um, overtime is definitely great medical benefits. I get medical, vision, dental.
Wow.
I get off a lot of different holidays. And the great thing about my job is they pay me double for holidays. So if
Oh,
I don't
wow.
go in for work, I still get paid 16 hours. Um, like I worked a double shift. And especially if I work on top of that, because normally I do have to work holidays,
Right.
I get paid even more than that. So overtime is great. I love the financial stability it has granted me. Um, and it's great to be independent in this job.
Mhm.
Um, it has offered me a certain level of independence because I'm out there by myself, like no protection practically. I have to, so I love the confidence and the independence that it's shown me. That's a perk. I feel like it's given me a lot just personally. It's given me a lot
Right.
that I've gained from this position.
Right.
And she does not have a weapon, but she
Right.
wears Kevlar, right?
Yeah.
She's
Of
got a
course.
badge. You know, we trying to get that
Yes.
pepper spray. She's got to take the class though. She's got to be sprayed. Beth, remember that? Getting
Oh,
sprayed.
yes.
She's got to be
Oh,
sprayed before she
yes.
can get that pepper spray. So she's like, I
Right.
got to get something because these people are crazy. It's getting.
Mom.
Candace, you can't be mom on here. You're supposed to like mom. She gets
And can I
No,
just
but
say that um, you had said this is a nonprofit.
yes.
So I want all of our learners to realize that just because something is a nonprofit doesn't
Yeah.
mean that it doesn't pay and that it
Hmm.
doesn't have benefits. You know,
Hmm.
sometimes people think nonprofit, oh, I don't want to work for free. That's not what this is
That's
about,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
Do you
awesome.
Um,
have to have a college degree, or what kind of requirements are there for to do this role?
the requirements for the role, you just have to have a high school diploma. If you have more education, that's great. I think it just will help you more in the position because you have to do a lot of legal things. And you have to deal with different departments, especially in law enforcement, and they just structurally, if you have any further education outside of high school, it just will even further help you um, with doing all the logistical types of things.
And they teach you all that too,
So,
right?
so are you saying that your
Well,
college degree helped you with some of the things you're doing?
Mom.
I have to do a lot of typing. Mavis Beacon also helps me. I don't know if anybody knows what Mavis Beacon is, but it's a typing program
Yeah,
that they used to offer back in the day.
right.
But yeah, um, I love the job, and I just hope my team gets bigger because I do also with the responsibility. I have to work 5 days a week. I have to do two on call days a week, so it's hard on my personal life.
Mhm.
Um, so it's just like managing all of that and just knowing that if you do the work, it's a very rewarding job.
Yeah.
And
And
so
I
on,
think we all struggle with the life balance,
yeah,
life work balance.
and
Mhm.
on call, on call means she's worked a whole 8 hour shift, and then she goes home and she's still on call until the next morning. So if she has to go out, then she's working almost,
Yeah.
probably 20 hours, right? And then she
Yeah.
still has to be in by 7 a.m., 8 a.m. the next day after they're on call.
Yeah.
So that can be a really long day.
Well, we
Yeah.
hope this symposium is a recruiting method for you too, right?
Yes, anyone that is wanting to be an officer in law enforcement, please reach out to me and I will give you that information.
That's awesome. I see any other hands? Okay, thank you, Lauren. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Next up is Sandy.
Hello there, everyone.
Hello, welcome.
Morning.
Morning.
I am, um, I kind of stumbled into what I'm doing now, clearly out of, I'm going to say honestly, uh, a filler, something to do. I was looking for work. Um, had lost my job at this big old age, and was looking for work, and it was challenging to say the least.
Sure.
And so, as an something to do, as I was looking for work, a friend of mine approached me about getting involved in a research program through the University of Maryland.
Okay.
And I thought, well, you know, I am not going to um, I am not going to, I'm not doing that. I mean, again, to Bruce's point, I am not doing that. And so she said, come on, it'll be something to do. And I thought, well, you know what? Why not? It'll be something to do. Let's go ahead and see what all is involved. So we both had to apply. We applied for the role, and I'm thinking, this is volunteer, so it's just going through the process. Well, it wasn't until I was selected, we were told that there were 25 of us that were selected out of a group of 2,000. And
Wow.
I was like, wait a minute, maybe. So it caused me to sit up a little bit straighter in my seat and take a listen. But what the program is, it is a community engaged research program. It is a 5 to 6 week program, and it is intense. That is a 90-minute commitment that you have to engage online. It's all done virtually. But you have a 90-minute commitment every week, as well as you have additional readings and things that you have to do. You do have homework as well.
Okay.
But what I found is throughout this process, they teach you a 10-step transactional program that allows you to engage in community outreach for healthcare research. And
Oh,
really, the program is really targeted towards um, Black and Brown people and health equity.
ah,
And so it was the first time that I had ever encountered a program where they really spoke to the systems that are in place that have bound folks in
yeah.
terms of inequity of healthcare, biases, and so on and so forth. And you really have an opportunity to work side by side with researchers. You're working with everyone. And I came to the program as a community advocate, not really knowing much of anything, but
Right.
what it did was it opened the door to a multitude of opportunities and allowed me to sit in rooms that I would have never otherwise had an opportunity to participate in.
Oh, elaborate on that. That's amazing.
Yeah, so for instance, one of the research programs that I'm working with now, it's a $10 million research program through NIH,
Okay.
and we're working with uh, determinants of health. And so really what we're looking at are the underserved communities and those things that really impact um, inequities in healthcare. So things as simple as um, I don't have I know I have a health issue, but I don't have the means by which to get to the doctor. I
Right.
know I have excuse me just a second.
Sure.
Mom, I'm on call.
This is such an important topic because inequities in healthcare, especially for the Black and Brown community, are huge. So I'm so glad Sandy's going to be able to talk to us about this.
Yes, and so one of the things that so what that has allowed me to do is to actually sit on this board. Um, and when I showed up to this program, and they actually, what happens is when you're in these programs, it gives you an opportunity to really go out, work in government, or work with government, to work with healthcare facilities, to work with policymakers. And many times, as a result of having gone through this program, they will reach out to you
Okay.
based on your involvement, your engagement, level of interest, experience, education. And one of the things that I'm currently doing is I'm a board member on this $10 million research program
Yeah.
at the University of Maryland. And I'm sitting in this room, and everyone in this room is a PhD. And then here I am over here in the corner, and I'm thinking, now, what can I add to this conversation? I'm thinking to myself, the Brookings Institute is over here, the
Yeah.
Pew Institute is over there. And so you really do have an opportunity to engage with folks that I would have never had an opportunity to engage with, and talk about networking and building relationships with these folks. It really has opened the doors to other things. I've had an opportunity to work on a program through the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid.
Okay.
We have worked on an inaugural program there through CMS. Um, and so it's just opened my eyes to a multitude of opportunities. And while this is not a paid program, the program itself, the opportunities that it creates, many of them are paid. And
Right.
so there is a stipend for those programs, and some of them are very lucrative in terms of the payment.
Okay.
But more than that, I think the real opportunity is, one, you have a voice in healthcare. You have a voice in making a difference. You have a
Right.
voice in setting policy. I've
Right.
also worked on some programs where folks who are applying for grants,
Mhm.
where I've sat on the board of some of those programs where we determine, do they meet the criteria, or do they not meet the criteria?
Okay.
And what are some of the things that they can do next go round that may better prepare them? And
Okay.
so it, everyone has a voice. That's the
Hmm.
thing. So whether you come with a PhD or whether you're coming with a community experience, everyone has a voice, and your voice is heard. And so I know a lot of industries out there where if you're not coming looking a certain way or with a certain set of credentials,
Right.
you may not have access, you may not have that voice. But here, everyone is genuinely interested in what you have to say, because even if you're speaking as a community advocate,
Yeah.
you're speaking as the voice of the customer, the voice of the patient. And so
Good point.
the folks want to hear that. You're sitting in a room full of cancer researchers,
Yeah.
and they're coming in from a standpoint of, we're here um, to eliminate this cancer.
Hmm.
Uh, but yet they are disconnected from the experience of the patient on the other side.
Right.
And so all of those types of things, you realize the value, and you can kind of see the light bulb going off when you're talking to these folks
Oh,
sometimes, like,
wow.
wow, I had never really thought about that. I
Right.
had
And
never
you're
really
probably
considered
like, why didn't you think of this? Like,
it.
this is, I
Exactly.
mean, oh, and it goes further to say that you do belong at that table,
You,
right?
everyone belongs at the table. Everyone has a seat at the table. Everyone's voice matters. Um, and they will definitely engage everyone at the table. So even if you're sitting there and you're feeling like, okay, I'm shrinking here because I don't really think that I have any value to add,
Hmm.
they will definitely draw you into the conversation. And then you realize that folks do want to hear what you have to say, that you do have something of value to add.
Right.
And so, what I will say to people about this is one, what they're attempting to do, and I think most of us are aware of the atrocities of the past in terms of research on Black and Brown folks. And so, as a result of that, we have really um, we're skeptical. And,
Of course. Of
we
course.
um, we don't necessarily trust the process. And so part of this also is to go out and engage communities in research.
Right.
And one of the things that we talk about is, and I think most of us have heard this, if you show up for this research or you answer these questions, we'll send you a gift card. We'll send you a $25 gift card. And
Yeah.
we're like, it's bigger than that. You have to make investments before you start attempting to make it withdrawals.
Mm.
And you come into a community and it's we need. Okay, so what are you doing for this community? So some of the communities here in the Baltimore area, they have provided things like community buses,
Mm.
especially in a lot of the senior communities,
Mhm.
where these seniors now have an opportunity to get around free of charge.
Yeah.
They're going in and doing those types of things in some of these communities. So before we go in and say, hey, we are aware that you may suffer with these challenges, and we're looking to hear more about that, or we're looking to engage you. Now we're coming in and we're offering something,
Right.
and that we may do that for a year. And
Hmm.
then we'll go in and start talking about research and start talking about the value of research. And um, it, it- it's um, it's a somewhat of a double-edged sword in that if we don't participate in the research, then we're going to continue to get what we've already got.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and if we do, then we have an opportunity to move the needle.
Right.
But yet we have the trust factor that stands in the middle of that. So we do go to those communities and we bring in the doctors and the researchers and patients, and we sit down and we talk with the communities. And so we have regular community engagement opportunities that we just go to different communities and we just sit and talk.
Right.
We sit and
Right.
talk and find out, okay, so what is it that you need? What is it that's keeping you from getting healthy? Um,
Right.
that could be just education. That
Hmm.
could be, a lot of these folks are in a food desert.
Right.
And so
Right.
how do we answer those questions? How do we deal with that? How do we deal with the schools? How do we deal with um, the prison systems,
Mhm.
recidivism, all of those types of things? So, I mean, it really covers the gamut, but you
Mm.
really do, as a result of going through this program, at the end of the program, it gives you the opportunity to go out and stand in those shoes and represent the University of Maryland in ways that they had never experienced before.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm curious, how many of the doctors and folks from these institutes look like you?
Not many.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not many.
Yeah.
But what I will say is it has been an education for many of them as well. So I was
Sure.
just talking recently with a researcher, and he's from Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I'm going to be real candid. And this was actually at one of our community engagement meetings. He said, leaving Mississippi and coming here to University of Maryland, he said, every day my mind was blown. He said, I'm thinking, what are these folks talking about? And he said, he said, I really didn't understand my implicit bias. He said, I had no idea
Wow.
that the things that I was doing and the ways that I thought, I was taught that. I was conditioned to believe certain things. And as a result, he said, I was not providing the best care that I could for
Wow.
my patients. And but just to have that level of transparency is mind blowing. And
Yeah.
it also helps those that we're now talking to about research to say, Okay, so people are acknowledging these things that we've been talking about for years.
Right. You're
I
being
may
heard.
to be right. And so they may not be at a point of saying, I'm going to engage in this research, but now they're willing to listen. And
Right.
so we're seeing that they're showing up for the next community engagement and that they have an opportunity to talk with these folks one-on-one.
Right.
And
Wow.
so it's really impacting in so many different ways. You know, when we have all these research dollars, my
Mhm.
question was, we were looking at some numbers back from 1959. And when we looked at those numbers and compared those to today's numbers, we really hadn't moved the needle much.
Yeah,
However, hundreds of millions of dollars had been invested.
of
So I
course.
said, what are we really doing here? You know, it's like the dog chasing its tail. I said, are we just checking boxes
Yeah.
and, checking off accolades and
Right.
credentials on resumes and getting these research dollars? Or are we really looking to solve problems? Are we really looking for real solutions? And so that opened up a whole nother conversation.
I'm sure.
And it's just, um to see folks embrace that and to really begin to look at things from a different perspective and be open and honest to hear what folks are saying. And
Yeah.
then how does that translate to change? How does that look different when I show up at the doctor's office? How does that
Right.
look different when I need advocacy?
Mhm.
Um, and who do I get to advocate for me? And
Right.
so, I've had an opportunity to advocate for some patients.
Oh,
And so it's very rewarding.
that
But what it
sounds
has
like it.
done is opened up the door to all of these different opportunities that are out there
Right.
that I had no idea. Now, many of these opportunities you will have to go back to school for,
Mm.
but it's something that you didn't even know existed.
Right. And
So
how long did you say this program was?
it's with 5 to 6 weeks
Okay. Okay.
is the program. So I mean, when you think about it in terms of time, it's not a long period of time, but it is very intensive. So it is a
Right.
very intensive program. So it's not one of those things where you're just going to show up and just talk and have conversation and don't do the work. So
Right.
we
Right.
definitely there's definitely homework that needs to be done, and it's not a grading system. But what it does do is it speaks to the level of commitment. And then that's how they determine, okay,
Wow.
who's serious about this? Who can we bring on board?
Yeah.
Um, who can we really engage? I've had opportunities to work in shock trauma,
Oh, wow.
to work with some of those folks,
Okay.
to um, to talk to parents. When you get that call that you have a family member that's in shock trauma, to be able to come in and sit down and talk to family
Hmm.
while their loved one is being cared for.
Wow.
It's a scary time. And so it's just so many opportunities that are available out there that many of us just are not aware of.
I wasn't aware of this. And didn't you say that you were one of 25 out of what, 2000?
Over 2,000.
That's
Over
amazing.
2,000. So it's amazing. And they have a program that, so the program, it runs every, what is it? I believe they do it twice a year.
Okay.
And so they have one that's coming up. I believe it's going to start in June.
Okay.
And so there's an opportunity for anyone to apply.
And
Uh,
does this cost anything?
it doesn't cost anything. It's free of charge. There's no
Wow.
cost at all. There's no pre-qualifications. I mean, clearly they are looking for those who are willing to engage and those who are open to speak up. They want someone who is willing to share and to speak up and to ask the hard questions.
Right.
And you really do have an opportunity to ask questions I know for the first time that I don't know where else I would have felt comfortable asking these questions.
Interesting.
Um, and so it really does challenge people to think
Sure.
differently
Sure.
and to act differently.
Right.
And we can see from the beginning of that 6 week program to the end of the 6 week program,
Yeah.
we really get an opportunity to see how people are moving a little bit differently. These researchers, these doctors, these clinicians, all these health professionals, we really do get to see how they're moving differently, and as well as ourselves. So when we're showing up at these events,
Yeah.
now I'm speaking a totally different language that I did when I just showed up because I just wanted to volunteer and I was looking really for something to do.
Right.
Now I'm really coming with some credible information that others can use
Right.
and can benefit them.
That must be a wonderful feeling.
It is so rewarding. It
Yeah.
is so rewarding. And while I was going through this program, um, all everyone in my family, my friends, they said, if you say one more thing about this program, they were like, oh my goodness. They were like, okay, okay, enough
You're
about
gonna
the program.
you're gonna
But
get everybody on it. Yeah, that's awesome.
everyone, because it was just so mind-blowing and so eye-opening. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and did
Yeah.
you know? And did you know? And did you know? And all
Mm.
of these things, just something as simple as the pulse oximeter that they put on your finger.
Yeah.
We learned, and this was I started in the program, which was the first program in 22.
Hmm.
Um, and that was not long after COVID.
Hmm.
And one of the things that we learned were Black and brown people were dying exponentially in greater numbers than everyone else because this pulse ox does not register um, for Black people
Right.
as it does for others.
Right.
And we were sitting in the class, and I mean, sometimes you would be in the class and it would get so heated that they would tell you in the beginning of the session, now there's going to be some very real conversation in here.
Hmm.
You're going to hear some things that you're not going to want to hear. You're going to hear some things that are going to make you angry. And what we're going to ask is if you have to, just click off and walk away.
Okay.
Well, there were several times I had to click off and walk away
Yeah.
and then come back
Yeah.
once I got my mind right,
Right.
back and really ask some real questions. Um, but the good thing with that was, okay, there's nothing off limits. These folks are being real transparent here. But the first time we're hearing, to hear a doctor say, yes, I sent Black and brown folks home knowing, excuse me, that this thing right here was telling me that people were okay when I knew they weren't okay.
Oh, wow.
And so
Yeah.
I'm sitting there looking at the screen like, are you kidding me? Did he really just say that? But that's the level of transparency.
Wow.
Excuse me. And so we needed to hear that
Yes.
because we already knew it. And
Sure.
it was good to hear someone acknowledge that level of truth.
Yeah, you're validated, right?
You're
You've been
validating.
saying this all along, and finally somebody says, "Yep, you're right. You're right."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so what
Wow.
do we do? So when the next pandemic comes along,
Mhm.
what do we do differently?
Well,
And
and what
so
other avenues or what other equipment is having the same effect?
exactly.
Right? I know
Exactly.
there was some young gal that invented some sort of I want to say X-ray, that's not the right thing, but sometimes domestic violence, Black and brown domestic violence victims, bruises do not show up the same way, right?
Yes.
So you got a
Yes.
doctor that says, "Well, I didn't see anything on this patient," and this young
Hmm.
girl created this X-ray, this light or something that showed on
Yes.
Black and brown skin that there were bruises there, right?
Yes. I
I mean,
read
so
about that.
the pulse ox could be, okay, well, maybe we're not looking at these other things the same way. And this all came because your friend said you need to go do this. This is
I need to
something
go
that,
do this. And
wow.
she was notified because she was a cancer survivor. And so they were also looking for cancer survivors.
Yeah.
And so she said to me, she said, come on. She said, I don't really want to do it either. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so we were convincing one another and got
Yeah.
into the program, and our minds were just blown. And I
Well,
thought, thank you so much for inviting me to this. I had no idea. And then
right.
to be called on, even still, to engage in different programs and projects and engage in, if someone is interested in your voice.
Yeah.
So it's ongoing now.
Right. And some of these comments, Candace, of course, likes the making deposits before making withdrawals from a community. I mean, that's just that's huge. I love that too. And obviously affirming you're in the right room, right? And your
Yes,
voice matters. That's
yes,
huge. And again, that networking again, it's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know, and then you learn
yes,
from there. That's
yes,
amazing. So for
yes.
all of our learners out there, I mean, there's a ton of good points here. And did I see somebody's hand up? Okay. I guess they're putting the comments in the comment section. That's wonderful. Well, thank you and
Thank you.
wonderful work. I feel like there's going to be a lot of good things that come from this because the medical community is finally, at least at University of Maryland, listening and trying to make a difference and helping the Black and Brown
Yes,
community because it can be different in the medical field, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And stay
absolutely.
tuned, everyone. We're not done with this conversation. I was so intrigued by the program that Sandy has agreed to work with me on a podcast. She's making some introductions to some of the administrators with the physicians patients program, and so I think there's a collaboration in our future. I'm super
Certainly.
excited about what she shared and what that could mean for the African American community
Yeah.
and making sure that people get more of their voices heard. So Sandy, thank you for coming to share with us today.
Thank you.
All right. So we're on to Bruce.
Good morning,
Welcome.
everyone. Or, yeah, I guess it's still morning for a few
Yep. For
minutes
a little
anyway
bit.
on the East Coast. Let me start by saying if I have to jump off because of a call, I'm in supply chain. My warehouse right now is blowing up. So not blowing up
Literally.
figuratively than
Sure.
actual, but yeah, we're having some systems issues. Um, so I work in supply chain, as I said, in warehousing more specifically, which basically means I help make sure things you need actually get to you, right?
Thank
Uh,
you.
if you've ever ordered something online and it showed up fast, or your vet had the exact medication your pet needed, right? We were talking about pets earlier.
Yeah.
People like me and my team make that happen, right? The career has taken me around the world and introduced me to incredible people to put me in the right in the middle of operations to keep the entire industry moving, right? There's
Oh, wow.
so much to it that people just don't realize. Supply chain is behind the scenes, the engine of the world. It really is. Warehousing is where the action happens, right? And I run warehouses and have for quite some time. Products arrive, they get organized, they get offloaded, they get put away, picked and packed, and then trucks roll right back out to stores or to your house or whatever that is. It's fast. It's definitely high tech, which people don't realize.
Mm.
Um, and it's way more exciting than most people expect if you like that kind of thing. So I'm a director, and so I'm part coach, part strategist, part problem solver, a whole lot of problem solving, like we do right now. Like I've been taking these calls. If you see my head down, I'm texting my warehouse. Um, I lead teams, help people grow, make sure operations run smoothly across multiple locations. Some of the coolest things I've gotten to do, I've launched new distribution centers from scratch, bringing in cutting edge technology like automated augmented reality picking glasses, right? So think Google glasses, but for warehousing.
Okay.
Um, I even have right now, we have 3 robots working in my building, helping us move product faster and smarter. Improving processes so customers get what they need faster, right? Supporting major new business launches that created huge growth. But honestly, the best part is the people, right? I focus on building teams where people feel supported, valued, and excited to come to work. And when you do that, people stick around, right?
That's for sure.
It's a big challenge right now, from the aspect of trying to understand what the youngest folks coming in want, but what we offer throughout the industry. Some areas you can get free college. Two companies I've worked for, free college education paid for.
Wow.
We put people through school. We've bought cars for people, not actually like buy cars, but help them purchase cars based on their income. We've put children through school. We've put roofs over people's houses,
Wow.
literally and figuratively. All kinds of things, right? Being in this role and in this position, and it really is great. I
So
didn't grow up, pardon me?
I'm sorry, I was just going to ask you, how did you get involved in it? And it sounds like you were going to start that.
Yeah. I certainly didn't grow up. I didn't know what supply chain was. And certainly when I got started, it didn't sound all fancy as supply chain. It was called warehousing back then, right? I started in the Marine Corps where I learned discipline, teamwork, how to lead under pressure. That's where I got into warehousing. From there, I took on roles in distribution centers, started at the post office and UPS, FedEx, so forth and so on.
Okay.
Learned how operations work and kept saying yes to bigger challenges as we were talking about earlier, right?
Right.
I didn't know what those challenges necessarily entailed. I just wanted to do something different and keep learning. So I've worked in retail, I've worked in technology, I've worked in pharmaceuticals, I've done consulting, and now I'm at Lowe's Home Improvement, where I have three
Okay.
robots, as I mentioned earlier, working in my building, helping us move product faster, smarter, saving people's backs, things like
Right.
that. And every
Right.
step has taught me amazing things and something new every day. I mean, every day something is new. That's the beauty of this field, right? You don't need a perfect plan. I certainly didn't have a plan at all in that regard. I just wanted to keep moving up. So you just really need curiosity, a strong work ethic, right? And a willingness to learn. It's
Yeah.
nothing amazing. It's nothing earth-shattering, right? Those are the tenets of any career.
Well, but I hear what you're saying too, and it's similar to some of these other folks, is that they got into one thing and got curious about something else, and all these other doors and opportunities kind of opened up for them, right? I mean, nobody has been stagnated anywhere. And I feel like if people just have an opportunity and have a little bit of curiosity, you can really take it anywhere. Like you said, you had no idea what this was before, and now you're fascinated with it. And you also have an opportunity to treat the folks that work for you really, really well, which is important too. And you see all the opportunity out there.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, right? Um, Being able to help support people, right? Life's hard. Life's hard for everybody, right?
Yeah.
But giving them somewhere they can come work every day, get paid, they work hard, and put in an honest day's work, as we used to say, right?
Yeah.
They get the rewards for that.
Yeah.
Um, just well, I probably can't say that because we just went through it yesterday. But we're doing some really exciting things for my team right now.
Yeah.
I was telling Lawrence and Lois this week I've probably put in probably close to 70 hours, and I'm working right now while I'm on this call.
We appreciate that.
But yeah, well, that's fine. It's part of what I do, but
Yeah.
just the fact that we're doing some exciting things, and we were rolling out for our associates some new pay programs for our team um, that can put some real money in their pocket, right? And you're talking for hourly associates that make around $40,000 a year. They have a potential to make a 15% bonus on top of that.
Wow.
I mean, and I'm in North Georgia, so every area of the country is a little bit different, but
Yeah.
the potential to help them out in those ways and in essence profit share with the team is a great thing. Right?
Yeah. And I think we're hearing more about, supply chain just because of what's going on in the country and some folks that weren't even thinking about it. Like, you get your Amazon box. I actually think about it because I just am that way, but I'm like, I'm wondering how they got this here so fast, right? Like I just ordered this today and they're going to bring it to me tomorrow. And I'm thinking it gets on a plane, but I get free shipping. And like you have all those stations throughout, your profession.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and we are constantly trying to figure out how to do it faster, smarter, right? Where Lois and Lawrence live, they live right around the corner from an Amazon airport, and several Amazon distribution centers in that area, right? I used to live around the corner from them. But yeah, you order by 10 o'clock, you can have it on your doorstep by 5 o'clock that same day.
That's
Now
amazing.
Amazon's trying to do in some select cities, they're doing 1 hour delivery, which is
Now,
amazing.
and that brings up a really good question that Jennifer has asked about AI. And you said you had some robots in there. Can you touch on how AI has changed or improved supply chain and what you're doing?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So robots first, right? So we have a limit of lifting, how much one person can lift, right? Up
Right.
to 75 pounds, I think is our restriction.
That's a lot.
Um, but with that, right, bringing in robots,
Yeah.
that extends people's longevity and ability to work, right? So,
Sure.
as we were talking a little bit earlier about technology in general and allowing people to, hey, if you've got some curiosity, people without degrees, I'll put you in front of this robot and help you understand how to get it started, get it going, troubleshoot the issues when it has it, right?
Yeah.
You don't need a degree for that.
Right. Right.
So that allows people that, hey, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s, I don't want to be lifting weights all day long for 12 hours. And I mean weights, I'm talking 40 to 50 to 60, 70 pounds all day long, right? So this gives them the opportunity to do that, right? AI is just constant in our field, and it's growing every day. So AI allows us to the simple things like write reviews, but it also helps us with staffing, right?
Right.
We are trying to figure out what's the perfect staffing to have, right? Now, we don't lay people off specifically from, hey, because technology did this leap. But what we do try to do is look forward and say, okay, this is how much I'm going to receive in the future, next month, over the next 6 months, what that looks like.
Okay.
AI helped me understand what my staffing needs to be every week, every day, every month, right? And so we get a balance of that. So we don't overhire and then say, hey, I got to let you go. We don't underhire, right? And then, things are tough from you're not getting your package the same
Right.
day or the next day, you're getting it 3 days. And everybody wants their stuff right now.
Right, exactly, exactly. And I've actually ordered for, home delivery from Lowe's and I realized that it may have come from that store, but it came from your supply chain at some point, right? I
Absolutely.
mean, and from Candace, how do you get started in the supply chain? This is really interesting to me because it sounds like some of these other folks too. Your day is never the same. It's a new day. Like it's never boring, right? There's always something going on. So how does someone like set out to do business in the supply chain? How do you get started?
So it obviously depends on what level you want to get into and where you want to get started, right? I was coaching a young man yesterday. He's a freshman in college. He's working for us for 2 years, and he wants to be an engineer.
Okay.
Was Kevin, I believe, right? Kevin's
Yep.
an engineer. I've got
Yep.
engineers in my building. I've got people aspiring to be engineers. So for him, I was like, look, we have an internship program. You can work while you're here. You can get paid while you're here. You can get into our internship program and then come right back because we hire a lot of engineers, right? I've got hourly associates that went from hourly associate to performance instructor to supervisor to operations manager to so forth and so on, right?
Wow.
You can start out at $16 an hour and you can make well over $100,000 an hour without a degree, like quickly, right?
Good
And
to
quickly
know. Yeah.
being 4 or 5 years, right? It just, I mean, it runs the gamut, right? You don't need a specific degree. If you have a degree, great, right? It kind of gives you that leg up. You're promoted based on performance, not on time, right?
Good point.
So if
Good
you work
point.
hard and you're focused and you are a problem solver, people are gonna, hey, I need you on my team.
Right.
Um,
And
we
and you mentioned you're in Georgia, but this could be the same for supply chain areas all over the nation.
all over the world.
Yeah, all over the world. All over the world.
Everybody, every industry has a supply chain, right? Or is impacted by the supply chain.
Yeah.
For those on the call today, that I'm sure you remember COVID, right? Hey, we don't have masks, right?
Yeah.
All of our supply chain, all of our manufacturers are overseas. We need this, right? Then there was a big push to get that stuff back onshore because we can't give away everything just because it's cheaper. There are certain industries we got to have manufactured in the U.S. because they're vital um, to our network, our survival as a country.
Right.
So it's just things like that. I've worked on for those that remember mad cow disease.
Yeah.
I've worked on the corrections for that, for food processing, all kinds of different things.
Wow.
I've launched distribution centers from four walls and nothing inside. Um,
Hmm.
I've done pop-up warehouses for Walmart and Sam's Club, where in less than 100 days, we have a distribution center out there feeding the network, right? Or
Yeah.
industry. So
Yeah. And Jennifer's saying too, you make the world go round, which is so true.
it
I
really
mean,
is, right?
I think
Um,
supply chains touch everybody in some
and-
way. Have to.
yeah. If you remember back, and this is kind of funny, right? But if you remember back, and I share this with a lot of folks in my industry, right, that want to come up. You remember back during COVID, nobody could find toilet paper, right? It's the first thing that went, right? People just stockpiled toilet paper, shelves were empty. And I'm like, why do people do that? Because you don't have confidence in the supply chain. You don't have confidence that that product's going to be there tomorrow. Today, you're not going to have a bedroom full of toilet paper because you are confident that I'm going to go to Walmart or wherever and get toilet paper because it's right there, it's on the shelf, no problem. I'm not worried about it, right?
Right.
But when we have an issue, people tend to kind of stockpile that stuff on their own, right?
Right.
Now it's gas, right? And the price of gas is going up because of the Straits of Hormuz and all of that going on over there, right? Interrupting the supply chain. Prices skyrocket, right? This happens every day, all day throughout the world. And if we do a good job, people don't know about it. And when we don't do a good job, everybody knows about it.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. And it's every part of the economy.
It absolutely is. Politics included, not included, doesn't matter what your political affiliation is.
Yeah.
It impacts everybody.
Yeah. Wow. That, I mean, again, if you're given an opportunity and you walk through that door and you take your place at that table, you have no idea what's going to open up for you. And there's so many different aspects of the supply chain, and you're proof of that. You've done so many different things, and like Jennifer says, you make the world go round.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to think so. I really do.
Yeah, I do. I mean,
For
I
my
appreciate all the things I have, that I can be here. So yeah.
um, Looks
And
like Lawrence and Lois have a question.
it does, yeah.
Yeah, this first thing I want to say is that Bruce has impressed my son so much that he's followed in his footsteps in supply chain. And I think that's because he's seen the rewards
Yeah.
and also the hard work, but the rewards that you get from that particular industry and that particular position. So thank you.
That's wonderful. That's huge. That's what this is all about, right? Talking to people about jobs they may not know about and going from there. That this is 100% what we're trying to do. That's amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, it takes a village, right?
That's true.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you for that, Bruce, and thank you for all the things that you bring to us. Keep working. Thank you.
I'm gonna get back to it. Thanks.
Thank you. And last but not least, we've got Earl.
Earl. Yeah.
Welcome.
You gotta turn him on.
Hello, you hear
There you
me?
go.
Yes,
Yes.
we certainly can.
Okay, all right. But first thing I want to do, I want to thank Lawrence and Lois for inviting me to this forum here.
Fabulous.
I am going to give you a tour of my life and what I've done here.
Okay.
Okay, I am an industrial electrician. People ask, well, what is that deal there? Well, in my field there as an industrial electrician there, not only do I work on residential electric, commercial, but mostly I work on your large manufacturing, your high power, your high voltage lines as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, now you get off of that deal there, and I'm going to take you to my tour of my life here and why I made the decisions I made and the reasons I made them. I work for two large, oldest organizations here in the United States there. First, I worked for the railroad. Kevin, I can identify with you there. I'm from Chicago. Okay, and I worked for Chicago Northwestern Railroad.
Mhm.
I hired there in 1967. I was one of the 9 first Afro-Americans that broke the color line for brakeman conductors for the railroad there. The reason I said that deal, they're brakeman conductors, because you had Afro-Americans working for the railroad, but they worked as porters
Right.
or people working on the maintenance of the trains and the tracks, whatever there. So I was one of the 9 that was hired on to break the color line, they call it. Hired on as a brakeman conductor. Um, from that deal there, I worked for him for a year and a half. And then I went into the service, the Army.
Okay.
Army for 3 years. Did a tour in Vietnam, wounded, came back intact, mentally and physically, which is a great job there for me there because we did a lot of things over there that we probably shouldn't have came back whole anyway there.
Understood.
Once I made it back there, I had a life-changing attitude. I no longer was the man that I went over there as there. I was a machine gunner there, and I did some things there that I'm still asking for forgiveness today here. But anyway, there I made it back, and I had to make some decisions there. I didn't want to be a brakeman anymore. Not in Chicago, not during those winters with 20 below zero, working outdoors there. Kevin could identify with me there. I said, I got to find something better than this here. Okay. That is when Chicago Northwestern offered an apprenticeship. They had 3 disciplines open there. One was mechanical, another was pipe fitter, which was plumbers, basically, and the other one was electrical. I chose electrical. Now, I chose electrical for a couple of reasons. One thing there is not very physically challenged. I didn't want to work in no job there where I'm going to be greased when I come home. I'm tired and I've been lifting up heavy equipment, whatever. So mechanics was out for me there. Pipe fitters, plumbing, that's not my deal there. Electrical was more attractive. So I went into electrical, whatever there. I did what's called a 4-year apprenticeship program with IBEW, which is an International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
Okay.
I did it there with them there for 4 years. Um, I achieved a journeyman level, but that wasn't all I needed there. I grew to love the field. So what I did, I went to college after this, whatever there. And one reason I went to college, and I didn't think about it before then, is after I did my tour in Vietnam, I was in the service, I used the GI Bill to pay for my college education. So I used that. So I
Good
got
for
my
you. Yeah,
degree,
you deserve it.
and that's right, it's an industrial electrician in Chicago there one day. Well, like I said before, Chicago's still cold, it hasn't changed. I looked out on the West Coast. I looked for warmer weather. So
Definitely.
I started there and I went out and I sent out my resumes and I sent to a friend of mine there, was living out here in California at the time here, and he worked for the oil companies. Hmm. Like I said, I worked for two of the largest or oldest organizations, railroad and now the oil company. I sent my resumes to Chevron and he sent it there. I sent it to him and he sent it to Chevron. And Chevron wanted to talk to me. I said, oh, that's interesting. So I went and talked to Chevron, whatever there, Chevron Oil. Had another friend that worked for Texaco. We all sat down playing bid whist, playing cards, drinking beer that night before. And he sent out a feeder to Texaco. Both of them wanted to talk to me, whatever there. Chevron answered first, though. I went to Chevron there. When I went to Chevron, they like what I had to say. They liked my credentials.
Yeah.
They wanted me to give them a decision when I could come on board. I said, "Ooh, hold it now. I'm just out here visiting, just looking for a job. I wasn't planning on going to work right away." He said, "Well, when can you start?" I said, "Well, okay, now let's look at this here." I said, "First, I got to call the boss up, which is the wife, and tell her that I have a job out here in California here.
Yeah, you
How
might
you
want to do
feel
that.
about it there and living in Chicago?" And she said, "Well, the son is in school. When they want you to start?" I said, "I don't know. They told me it's up to me there." So I talked to Chevron there, and they gave me a very pleasing answer. They said, "Well, we got doctors in Chicago that could give you your physical. You let us know when you can start, and we hold this position open for you there."
Wow.
I said, "Well, I got to sell my home and everything else." And they said, "We'll wait for you." I said, "Oh, okay." End of story. Started working at Chevron oil company there. Came on as electrician, industrial electrician for Chevron. And then they moved me up to, promoted me to what they call electrical supervisor, where I conduct or help build locations, bring electric to oil plants that
Ah,
they built there, pumping units, water treatment plants.
okay.
I work for Chevron there. Not to get a lengthy story what everything I did there, but I took care of all the electric in my area there, which was out in here in California, Semrick and Taft area. Went out there. It's a pretty large area.
Okay.
I After I worked there and did that work there and with locations and blah 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 blah, I had another job offer from the Department of Water Resources. I
Okay.
worked for Chevron for 8 years. I worked for the railroad before I came out to California for 18 years.
Oh my goodness.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'm not no young man anymore. I'm moving around. But I know in my field there, and I was told by an old engineer years ago there, when I first started in the electrical field there, he said, you make yourself more valuable when you move around and become more exposed. I said, I didn't really understand it at that time. I understood it as I got older and started working in the field there. So I became more exposed there. So I left Chevron,
Hmm.
doing all the stuff I was doing there, and went to work for Department of Water Resources, state of California, help maintaining and training their people and
Okay.
maintaining water pumps. Now, these are just simple water pumps. These water pumps here, which blew my mind, was a couple 100,000 horsepower.
Ooh.
They was 5 stories deep underground. We had to
Oh,
take
wow.
elevators to each section of there just to work on it there. You had your motor section, you had your switch gear, you had your pumping, your impellers, then you had your piping, all on different levels there.
Oh, wow.
I said, well, that blew my mind, and that was exciting. That was new for me there. I So I worked for them. So I worked with, needless to say, worked for them for 18 years.
My goodness.
With the water company, Department of Water Resources there. And I've said all this here because I'm working for them, and the reason I went to work for these different places, and not only did it get exposure or whatever there, but each one that I went to work for there gave me better benefits and gave me better money. Let's face it. I
Yeah.
did all this here for the money. I
Yeah.
ain't, I didn't develop the love until later on, but I did it for the money there. Now, as an industrial electrician today, I can safely say it's easily that we as electricians, whatever they're industrial, whether we can make 100+ thousand a year easily without any effort.
Yeah.
If you're not making 100,000, you're doing something wrong.
Interesting.
That is the minimum. Now,
Okay.
one of the reasons why, because our field has become so electrified
Hmm.
with robotics, with solar, with wind,
Hmm.
and just the whole field is becoming with energy efficient. We're getting away from a lot of your fossil fuels and things like this here. Everything's going electrical. Even your automobiles is going electric, whatever.
Right.
So
Right.
that's one reason that the field is so demanding, and we can get this kind of money going out there. Now, I'm retired now. I've been retired for about 15 years now. Right now, I'm still getting calls because I was a trainer as well when I was with the DWR, the Department of Water Resources there, on the things I did there with the water company. I wrote books and troubleshooting techniques, and they
Oh,
used
wow.
those lines. I told, and they asked me, they called me up, and they asked, what did I, what did they want me to do with the books that I wrote there? When I said, on my way, I'm done. They said, we're going to keep them.
Yeah.
We're going to add them to our manufacturing booklets and
There you
manuals
go.
that we have on the shelf here. Do I have a problem with it? I said, I do not have a problem with it there. Now, the wife probably can attest to it, whether I still get phone calls from them there from time to time on troubles that they have and the interpretation of the books that I wrote there, how to interpret the one out there. And they use them. And I get
I hope you're
apologies
charging
when they
him for
call
that,
back.
Earl.
Was
I
that?
hope you're charging them for that.
No, I'm not. And
Oh,
Vivi,
goodness
well,
gracious.
I'm sorry, I said Vivi, my wife, but no, I do not. I have not. And I've been told I should have. I said,
Yeah. They're calling you.
I
They
fumbled
need
the
you.
ball. I fumbled the ball.
Yeah, I
I
hear
let that
that.
get by me there, but not
Consulting,
there.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's the reason why and how I became industrial electrician and why I became industrial electrician there.
Yeah.
The
That's
field,
amazing.
how can I say it there? Um, it's good paying salary. And I ask this to tell this to the young people when out here, that if they can get into apprenticeship, that's the way to go. I'm not knocking or against college.
Right.
If you get to these organizations that offer these different apprenticeships there, and it don't have to be electrical, it could be mechanical, it could be all your trades on it. Trades are coming back. They need trades people.
Yeah,
And if you get into
absolutely.
it, whatever there, not only that you don't have to worry about a college debt, But you get into these apprenticeships, you get these jobs, and they pay you while you in it there.
Repeat that for me, Earl. Let
They
people know.
they pay you while you training and you in it there. You're being educated one day.
Thank
And
you.
these fields here, like I said, it's coming back. Vocationals, trades are coming back there. And I tell a lot of the young people, I shouldn't have said just young people there. A lot of your 40 and 50-year-olds are doing career changes when out here. And they're not too
Yes.
old to get into these type of fields, whatever there, that you can make a decent living and you can expand and it's rewarding. I
Yeah.
say I love my trade. I I'm retired, like I said, but I'm still taking phone calls in the middle of the night from different people that's working on things. I just got one here a month ago
Yeah.
from an individual in Chicago in the middle of the night there, but it was young here. I think it's about 2 o'clock in the morning there.
Mm.
So it's only 12 o'clock here, midnight here, calling me that he was working on lighting. He took this job here, but he's not familiar with the three-phase lighting. It's 277 volts lighting. I said, and he's calling me, and I said, "Where are you now?" He said, "I'm on location on a lift up here in the air. Can you
Wow.
walk me through this here?" I said, "Okay." I said, and I told the wife there, "You're going to sleep there because this is going to be an all-night deal there because I don't want to leave this person hanging." And
Oh.
I look at the news the next morning there, and it says this person died or had an accident one out there. I said, so I'm going to walk him through this here step by step until he gets
Yeah.
his job here done here.
Wow.
I but that's how I love the job there.
Yeah.
I
Well, it
love
sounds
the
like you were
job.
really helping people too.
I am there, and I didn't mention it here, whatever there, but I was a contractor for a while there. And what I did, I used apprentices that I trained, was part training when I was with DWR to come and work for me there.
Yeah.
Save me money too.
Sure.
Save
Yeah,
money.
absolutely.
And they got the
Absolutely.
training, whatever there. So I take my hat off. I take my hat off to everybody here that blazed the trails. I'm glad to hear and see that my people are still out there doing it and they're helping on. And I just want to add that I'm with you there. Put me on the list. We can blaze the trail together there.
Yeah.
And,
Well, you
young,
you did
black.
blaze the trail. You
That's
did.
right.
You did.
That's right. I'm getting up in age when out here. I'm looking at 78 years old. But hey, I still got my mind. I'm still intact, and I'm going to help out as much as possible.
And that is a wonderful thing. You're still helping all those people come up.
That's right there. And that's my life. And hey,
It's amazing.
I love
It's
it.
clear. You can feel it. You can
Uh-huh.
feel it. And that is such a gift.
It
Such a
is.
gift. Think about all the people that are just not happy in what they've done. And you have, again, blazed that trail, number
Mhm.
one. And
Mhm.
number two, it is so evident that you really enjoyed what you've done and you're still helping people.
Thank you. Thank you for
Absolutely. Wow. Oh, and Lawrence and Lois have a Larry and Lois have a question.
Yes, I just want to say, number one, I found out how important electricity is 5 years ago when we had 135 people pass away because they froze to death because the electricity in Texas was off for 5 days
I'm sorry to
and
hear that.
sub-degree weather below zero. So if you didn't know how important your career was, a lot of people figured it out that day. The other thing is you're right about up and coming. There's this new thing called IA that needs data centers and they need electricians in those data centers like nobody's business. So
Mhm.
I think there's no question on how important this field is.
Right. Good point. Good
Thank
point.
you. Mhm.
Candace?
I wanted to ask two questions. I know we're over time, really over time, but all of you all had like so great things to share. I would never
Yeah.
cut it. First question is, do you feel like your skills gained in the military helped you with your career trajectory? It's my first question. And my second question is why do you think we're in the Black community not taking advantage of these apprenticeship programs?
First question, yes.
Mm.
The skills that and the events that happened to me in the military there helped me mature to make decisions that life is too short
Mm.
and I need to make a move here. And if I'm unhappy, don't sit back and wait. Do something about it. And that's one reason I was interested in the apprenticeship there. Although I worked for the railroad for all those years there, I took advantage of the apprenticeship that they had offered at that time there to make a life change. It was a big cut and pay for me. I was a brakeman conductor. I was making good money when I was there. Apprentices didn't make that kind of money there. But I'm just glad I went through with it. And as when I came out as a journeyman, I made up for the loss in the salary there. The second question there was, repeat that again there. What
I
was
knew
the
that
second?
was risky. I knew that was risky. I was taking a chance. I wanted to get the questions out before I forgot, and then I knew you would forget. So, so the second question is, why do you think that in the Black community we're not taking advantage of these apprenticeship opportunities as much as maybe we would have maybe like 40 years ago?
Well, one of the reasons there, I don't think many in the Black community know about it. That's one of the reasons I think they don't take advantage of it. I'm sure the young Black ones that I talk to now here, many of them don't really want to go to college or they can't afford to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
This here is an avenue that they could take. What they
Absolutely.
had to do, they do research there. Now, many of them don't know how to do the research there to find out what companies do have apprentices or apprenticeships, whatever there. There's a lot of companies out there that have it, but not there.
Mm-hmm.
You probably could go online and find it, or you could learn from people like me, word of
Right.
mouth, whatever there.
Right.
Put feelers out there when not there. I probably could tell people there, you know what, you go to DWR, Department of Water Resources. Many of them don't even know about Department of Resources. They don't even know. They think this is dealing with water. No,
Right.
most of the things they got is electric.
Good
I'm
point.
just talking about the electrical end of it there. You have apprentices, these companies have look for mechanics. Um, they have apprentices in, believe it or not, in your AI, artificial intelligence. They're looking for people to start training in these deals there. They had to become computer savvy, of course, and other things there. But yes, so I think a reason why a lot of them don't take advantage of it because I think many of them don't know about it or they don't know how to go about getting into this or applying themselves to it right now. I don't know if that answered your question
It
there.
did, but now I got a
Yeah.
Okay.
third question because I know that, and I see you, Bruce. I'm going to stop talking in a second. So we know that apprenticeships, one of the key things is the pensions. The pensions are what I think a lot of us are leaving on the table in the Black community, that we're not understanding the value of pensions and what that can add for our generational wealth for our families. So don't want to get in your business, but you got pensions and you probably got retirements, right? So from these different jobs, you've kind of created this retirement for yourself. Has that been beneficial?
Yes, it has been. And you get in my business there because I'm here to get so you get into my business. Okay. Yes, I like I said, I work for two of the largest or oldest organizations. Both, when I worked for the railroad, I bought into their stock. They
Mm-hmm.
offered to employees your 401s.
Mm-hmm.
I was smart enough to get into that deal there. When I worked for Chevron, the oil company, of course, I bought their stock. And I got into their retirement as well when out there. So yes, knock on wood, me and the wife has done well. We did wise investments, whatever there, and we got into their make sure both our the two ones there, well, I all three of them there,
Yeah.
DWR as well. All of them had good, excellent medical benefits as well there. So as far as retirement, we're very comfortable. I'm not saying that we're rich, but we're very comfortable,
Right.
and
Well,
So
and
we
you
made the
have
right
those
choice.
pensions.
right.
Yeah,
And so the thing that I want our learners and listeners to hear is that it's not just about the income, it's the right now, it's the future,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Of where you need to be. We need to be looking at the diversity of your income stream.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly there.
It's a good
I
point, Candace.
mhm.
Bruce, what would you like to add?
Yeah, just to piggyback on it, right? Candace, to answer your question around the military, I don't know anybody who would say the military was not beneficial to them, honestly. I
Mhm.
mean, all the stuff, right? I was 17 years old, 18 years old, running a warehouse at that age,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
At that time, the warehouse was probably worth $4 million, military warehouse. $4 million back in 83. It's a lot of money now, but back in 83, it was
That's
more
right.
money,
Yeah.
right? Back in 84, 85. Um, so it's huge, right? You get opportunities for responsibility that you won't get outside of the military. They put people very young in leadership positions, and it's a huge benefit in that way.
Mhm.
You ask about why are people not taking advantage of in our community, taking advantage of apprenticeships and in my industry, internships. Well, part of that is I believe we're not in those decision-making positions, and I would encourage people, look, get in those positions. My building, I have completely transformed our leadership team. It was very um, just white male dominated field and still is.
Yeah.
My building is very diverse, right? And I've been there for 18 months in this particular building. And my HR manager was like, our building has never looked like our community, not in this way, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
We've got to be in those positions to make the decisions to be able to do that. And you finished up, your third question was around pensions and retirement. Unfortunately, more companies are moving away from pensions. 401ks are more and more popular, but we got to be careful. That might go away too if we don't pay attention politically, but that's a whole nother thing. I would say
Mhm.
it would be a great venue to have this kind of format and to talk and educate people about finances. We don't talk about finances. We don't talk, we, particularly folks on this call, probably grew up, don't discuss money, don't
Right.
discuss politics, don't discuss religion. And Lawrence and I have talked, and Lois and I have talked about this before. Back in slavery days, they wanted you to be dumb and ignorant, not ignorant like you're stupid, but ignorant of what goes on.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's how you control people,
Right.
right?
That's
If you
right.
don't know that warehousing, you can go from $40,000 a year to 300 to 400 to $500,000 a year in income. If I don't tell you that, you don't know, therefore it's not an option for you, right?
Mhm.
Right.
You don't know there's a pension, if you don't know there's retirement, if you don't know you need to invest in your future today and just spend a little bit more in that area, when you get to 50, 60, 70, you will or won't have money based on those decisions you made a lot earlier in life, as we all know. But I tell my son, and he's in his 30s, I'm like, look, when you get to whatever level, a house costing $1 million is not going to be a big deal.
That's
Right.
Those
right.
used to be mansions. At some point in time, you're going to be looking and be like, I'm in one of those houses,
Yeah.
right?
That's right.
$1 million is not what $1 million was in 83 and 40 years ago.
Right.
It's people are going to make $1 million. Being a millionaire, yeah, it sounds good, but it's not the millionaires that we grew up with thinking, man,
Exactly.
that was a
Right.
lot of money back then. Well, it's money now. It's just not as much money now, right?
Right.
So I would encourage you to have this kind of forum and talk about money and getting people to understand that because one, everybody wants to hear how to make it, but
Yeah.
few people talk about it.
Mhm.
And we're always told and reinforced, don't talk about it, don't talk about it. Well,
Right.
if I don't know, I'm not going to go after a pension. Nobody ever told me about that.
Mhm.
I'm
Right. Or
telling
how do you
everybody,
do it? Yeah.
right?
How do you,
So,
yeah.
That's
so,
right.
so Bruce, I think it's a lovely idea. I'm already in my mind forming that. And so, in front of everybody, can we get you to participate in that conversation with us?
Sign me up. I talk about it all the time. I'm
Awesome.
more than
And,
happy
and
to
can
do
and Candace, I will definitely second that. I
Excellent.
100% agree. These young people need to understand how money works,
Yeah.
how you put some away early and let
Mhm.
it grow and compound, how do you buy property, how do you buy assets, how this whole system works.
it. Yep.
I mean, my kids have been fortunate, but that information needs to be spread to the masses.
Right. Right.
All
We've
right.
touched on this so many times,
I
Candace,
think I
and
know, I know.
um, yeah. And we were hoping people, not necessarily in the financial area, to come educate us and our learners, but just from every aspect, because it's not as overwhelming, right? If you break it down and talk to people that are doing it and living it. But you've got to listen, and you've got to be told you don't know. When I started with the Secret Service, they're talking about the benefits and retirement, and I'm like, yeah, 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 whatever. Just hire me. Well, thank God I have a pension. Thank God, right? I was like, whatever. That's so far off in the distance, and here I am, right? So, Bruce, you
And
hit the nail on the head, and we have talked about
yeah,
this.
and we definitely are going to do that. Kevin, you're right. Our children are very lucky, but I do think that there is a lot that they even still don't understand, and there's a privilege
Yes,
there that they don't quite get. And so this could be a conversation around that as well, because they do take things for granted because they've had the benefit of the trailblazing that's happened here in this sort of arena, this conversation we're having right now. They haven't necessarily had to do it the way that
right,
we did it. And they had a little push forward. But what I've recognized about that journey is that the steps still have to be learned. They still have to learn it. It's just they're going to have to learn it in a different way.
yeah,
And we you can't like not know it. They're still going to run into the same issues. It's just later in their lives that they're running into the issue.
hmm,
And so I think it would be a great idea for us to do this and get our young people involved. I think about my son right now, who is 25 years old in the Secret Service. He's doing some moving, some shaking. He's trying to figure some stuff out. He's privileged. He's privileged because he's got an at-home database that he can download from his dad, who's given him the legacy of law enforcement, is being able to talk him through things. But what about the other young people who want to get into something and they don't know who to talk to? They don't know how to leverage it. He can stay at home, he can save his money because
right,
he's got people in his ears saying, save your money, max out your retirement, max this out, max it out right now. But it's hard when you're in your
it is hard.
20s,
It is hard.
right?
Yeah.
To understand that you're going to blink and you're going to be 50. You're
Oh,
going to
yes.
blink and you're going to be 70. And you're going to be trying to figure out, where did all the time go?
Yeah.
What did I do with the money that I had? Did I put it in places where it mattered? Was it instead of just buying that car, that flashy thing, right? Because we could. So we definitely, I think, economics, generational wealth, I think we definitely are going to put this on board for a topic to have a very robust discussion. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry to be so wordy.
No, I
No,
think
it's
you're getting
fine.
excited. It's exciting to talk about for
You
our
guys know
next.
what happens when Candace gets excited.
Yes, we do.
Christopher, you want to say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say a lot of the law enforcement guys I work with, believe it or not, a lot of them have side gigs. They have a trade. And they make money on the side. I mean, they making six-figure incomes and still have a trade on the side. Either it's electrical, plumbing, carpentry, HVAC. These guys are making money. A couple of months ago, I made this mistake. I wish when I was in high school, I had mechanical drawing. I wish I paid attention. They had shop class, but I wasn't focused. But about a month or so ago, my faucet was leaking. So I'm like, so I went on YouTube and I was like, oh, this is easy. I can do it. So next thing you know, I didn't have the proper tools. So I had water all covered in my bathroom. $600 later, my neighbor came, charged me 600 cash money. He was a plumber. So, if you have a trade, we need to push that to a lot of the
Yeah,
kids out there.
Yeah.
They don't know. Yeah, I'm all for school and all, go to school, but if you can learn a trade, you can make money and we're building generational wealth.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Invest in 401k, deferred comp,
Pension, yeah.
yeah.
That's right.
And one more plug for being handy. And I just a shout out to my husband. He is former military as well. And the military has helped my household in that he affectionately has the nickname of Pop Pop can fix it all because his military service has given him the ability. He did I think it was refrigeration and something in the military. And he was like, he didn't know that it was going to give him all these skills, but he does our electrical in the house. He does plumbing in the house. He got those skills from the military,
Yeah.
and so now the litmus test is can Pop Pop fix it? Can he fix it? Because if we need a professional, if he can't fix it, so a plug for the military. We were going to have an Army Ranger, a young man who was going to be on our call today. We miss him today. He was deployed. So I would ask that you keep him in your
In
prayers.
prayers. Will.
Absolutely. And thank you all for your military service and Earl, based on your comments initially, you did the right thing when you had to, and we love you for it. So just
Thank
remember
you.
that,
Thank you.
and thank you all. And I can't say enough for everybody on the call today. I know we ran over. That kind of happens a lot, but it's just so interesting when we get to talk to folks and just hear how much, the folks on the call want to give back to the community and to raise us all up, and how much community is out there. And so I really hope our learners today reach out to some of us, and talk to us about what we have to share with you. It's all to help the community and to help us. We are here for you, and thank you to Candace and to Jennifer for getting this all together, and for all of you that participated. And please keep in touch if there's anything else that you can think of. And I know you're going to come back for the financial one. We're
All right,
gonna
all
get
right.
that
And
going.
a huge shout out to our moderator. Huge
Yes.
shout out, Beth. Amazing job.
Thank you. I
Yes,
enjoy
yes.
it. I get so much from it. So I appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank